Yo, 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 it's Big Ant, the spokesman, man. We back. Another edition of Urban Politicians TV, UPTV. Make sure you stay on your pivot at all times, man. We back. We had to come tap in, man. Y'all know what's going down. We got the presidential debate tonight. We got to find exactly what platform we're going to be able to stream from the computer. This is CNN right now. They saying it's supposed to come on live on ABC, so we waiting for them to join up. We might have to stop it a couple times during the live, because we don't want them to cut it and things like that. I don't think nobody really tripping tonight. This is real documentation. We here for it though. I want y'all to get the facts. I want y'all to get exactly what was said in real time. Let's see what they talking about, y'all. We here. Let's get it. Turn it up.
Face meeting ever.
A historic race for president upended just weeks ago. President Biden withdrawing after his last debate. Donald Trump now up against a new opponent.
The candidates separated by the smallest of margins, essentially tied in the polls nationally and in the key battlegrounds, including right here in Pennsylvania, all still very much in play. The ABC News presidential debate starts right now.
This is an ABC News special. The most consequential moment of this campaign. Kamala Harris.
Together, we will chart a new way forward.
Donald Trump.
We will soon be a great nation again.
Face to face. Historic. The ABC News presidential debate. Here now, David Muir and Lindsay Davis.
Good evening, I'm David Muir, and thank you for joining us for tonight's ABC News presidential debate. We want to welcome viewers watching on ABC and around the world tonight. Vice President Kamala Harris and President Donald Trump are just moments away from taking the stage in this unprecedented race for president.
And I'm Lindsay Davis. Tonight's meeting could be the most consequential event of their campaigns, with Election Day now than 2 months away. For Vice President Kamala Harris, this is her first debate since President Biden withdrew from the race on July 21st. Of course, that decision followed his debate against President Donald Trump in June. Since then, this race has taken on an entirely new dynamic.
And that brings us to the rules of tonight's debate. 90 minutes with 2 commercial breaks. No topics or questions have been shared with the campaigns. The candidates will have 2 minutes to answer questions, and this is the clock. That's what they'll be seeing. 2 minutes for rebuttals and 1 minute for follow-ups, clarifications, or responses. Their microphones will only be turned on when it's their turn to speak. No pre-written notes allowed. There is no audience here tonight in this hall at the National Constitution Center. This is an intimate setting for 2 candidates who have never met.
President Trump won the coin toss. He chose to deliver the final closing statement of the evening. Vice President Harris selected the podium to the right.
So let's now welcome the candidates to the stage. Vice President Kamala Harris and President Donald Trump.
It's on. It's on. Let's get it. Let's get to it. It's on.
Kamala Harris. Let's have a good debate.
Have fun.
Thank you.
Welcome to you both. It's wonderful to have you. It's an honor to have you both here tonight.
Good evening. We are looking forward to a
It's
spirited
up.
and thoughtful debate.
So let's get started. I want to begin tonight with the issue that voters repeatedly say is their number one issue, and that is the economy and the cost of living in this country. Vice President Harris, you and President Trump were elected 4 years ago, and your opponent on the stage here tonight often asks his supporters, are you better off than you were 4 years ago? When it comes to the economy, do you believe Americans are better off than they were 4 years ago?
So I was raised as a middle-class kid, and I am actually the only person on this stage who has a plan that is about lifting up the middle class and working people of America. I believe in the ambition, the aspirations, the dreams of the American people. And that is why I imagine and have actually a plan to build what I call an opportunity economy. Because here's the thing. We know that we have a shortage of homes and housing, and the cost of housing is too expensive for far too many people. We know that young families need support to raise their children, and I intend on extending a tax cut for those families of $6,000, which is the largest child tax credit that we have given in a long time, so that those young families can afford to buy a crib, buy a car seat, buy clothes for their children. My passion. One of them is small businesses. My mother raised my sister and me, but there was a woman who helped raise us. We call her our second mother. She was a small business owner. I love our small businesses. My plan is to give a $50,000 tax deduction to start up small businesses, knowing they are part of the backbone of America's economy. My opponent, on the other hand, his plan is to do what he has done before, which is to provide a tax cut for billionaires and big corporations, which will result in $5 trillion to America's deficit. My opponent has a plan that I call the Trump's sales tax, which would be a 20% tax on everyday goods that you rely on to get through the month. Economists have said that Trump sales tax would actually result for middle-class families in about $4,000 more a year because of his policies and his ideas about what should be the backs of middle-class people paying for tax cuts for billionaires.
President Trump, I'll give you 2 minutes.
First of all, I have no sales tax. That's an incorrect statement. She knows that. We're doing tariffs on other countries. Other countries are going to finally, after 75 years, pay us back for all that we've done for the world. And the tariff will be substantial in some cases. I took in billions and billions of dollars, as you know, from China. In fact, they never took the tariff off because there was so much money they can't. It would totally destroy everything that they've set out to do. They're taking in billions of dollars from China and other places. They've left the tariffs on. When I had it, I had tariffs, and yet I had no inflation. Look, we've had a terrible economy because inflation which is really known as a country buster. It breaks up countries. We have inflation like very few people have ever seen before, probably the worst in our nation's history. We were at 21%, but that's being generous because many things are 50, 60, 70, and 80% higher than they were just a few years ago. This has been a disaster for people, for the middle class, but for every class. On top of that, we have millions of people pouring into our country from prisons and jails, from mental institutions and insane asylums, and they're coming in and they're taking jobs that are occupied right now by African Americans and Hispanics, and also unions. Unions are going to be affected very soon. And you see what's happening. You see what's happening with towns throughout the United States. You look at Springfield, Ohio. You look at Aurora in Colorado. They are taking over the towns. They're taking over buildings. They're going in violently. These are the people that Xi and Biden led into our country, and they're destroying our country. They're dangerous. They're at the highest level of criminality, and we have to get them out. We have to get them out fast. I created one of the greatest economies in the history of our country. I'll do it again and even better.
We are going to get to immigration and border security during this debate, but I would like to let Vice President Harris respond on the economy here.
Well, I would love to. Let's talk about what Donald Trump left us.
Let's hear
Donald
it.
Trump left us the worst unemployment since the Great Depression. Donald Trump left us the worst public health epidemic in a century. Donald Trump left us
it's Corona though. That's
worst
Corona.
attack on our democracy since the Civil War. And what we have done is clean up Donald Trump's mess. What we have done and what I intend to do is build on what we know are the aspirations and the hopes of the American people. But I'm going to tell you all in this debate tonight, you're going to hear from the same old tired playbook, a bunch of lies, grievances, and name calling. What you're going to hear tonight is a detailed and dangerous plan called Project 2025 that the former president intends on implementing if he were elected again. I believe very strongly that the American people want a president who understands the importance of bringing us together, knowing we have so much more in common than what separates us. And I pledge to you to be a president for all Americans.
President Trump will give you a minute here to respond.
Number one, I have nothing to do, as you know, and as she knows better than anyone, I have nothing to do with Project 2025.
That's what I heard too.
I haven't read it. I don't want to read it purposely. I'm not going to read it. This was a group of people that got together. They came up with some ideas, I guess some good, some bad, but it makes no difference. I have nothing to do. Everybody knows I'm an open book. Everybody knows what I'm going to do. Cut taxes very substantially and create a great economy like I did before. We had the greatest economy. We got hit with a pandemic. And the pandemic was not since 1917, where 100 million people died, has there been anything like it. We did a phenomenal job with the pandemic. We handed them over a country where the economy and where the stock market was higher than it was before the pandemic came in. Nobody's ever seen anything like it. We made ventilators for the entire world. We got gowns, we got masks, we did things that nobody thought possible. And people give me credit for rebuilding the military. They give me credit for a lot of things, but not enough credit for the great job we did with the pandemic. But the only jobs they got were bounce back jobs. These were jobs bounced back, and it bounced back and it went to their benefit. But I was the one that created them. They know it, and so does everybody else.
Vice President Harris, I'll let you respond.
So Donald Trump has no plan for you. And when you look at his economic plan, it's all about tax breaks for the richest people. I am offering what I describe as an opportunity economy, and the best economists in our country, if not the world, have reviewed our relative plans for the future of America. What Goldman Sachs has said is that Donald Trump's plan would make the economy worse. Mine would strengthen the economy. What the Wharton School has said is Donald Trump's plan would actually explode the deficit. 16 Nobel laureates have described his economic plan as something that would increase inflation and by the middle of next year would invite a recession. You just have to look at where we are and where we stand on the issues. And I'd invite you to know that Donald Trump actually has no plan for you because he is more interested in defending himself than he is in looking out for you.
It's just a soundbite. They gave her that to say. Look, I went to the Wharton School of Finance, and many of those professors, the top professors, think my plan is a brilliant plan. It's a great plan. It's a plan that's going to bring up our worth, our value as a country. It's going to make people want to be able to go and work and create jobs and create a lot of good, solid money for our country. And just to finish off, she doesn't have a plan. She copied Biden's plan, and it's like 4 sentences, like run, spot, run. 4 sentences that are just, oh, we'll try and lower taxes. She doesn't have a plan. Take a look at her plan. She doesn't have a plan.
Mr. President, I do want to drill down on something you both brought up. The Vice President brought up your tariffs. You responded, and let's drill down on this because your plan is what she calls is essentially a national sales tax. Your proposal calls for tariffs, as you pointed out here, on foreign imports across the board. You recently said that you might double your plan, imposing tariffs up to 20% on goods coming into this country. As you know, many economists say that with tariffs at that level, costs are then passed on to the consumer. Vice President Harris has argued it'll mean higher prices on gas, food, clothing, medication, arguing it costs the typical family nearly $4,000 a year. Do you believe Americans can afford higher prices because of tariffs?
They're not going to have higher prices. What's going to have and who's going to have higher prices is China and all of the countries that have been ripping us off for years. I was the only president ever. China was paying us hundreds of billions of dollars, and so were other countries. And, you know, if she doesn't like them, they should have gone out and they should have immediately cut the tariffs. But those tariffs are there 3.5 years now under their administration. We are going to take in billions of dollars, hundreds of billions of dollars. I had
Tax
no
them
inflation,
niggas, Trump.
virtually no inflation. They had the highest inflation perhaps in the history of our country because I've never seen a worse period of time. People can't go out and buy cereal or bacon or eggs or anything else. The people of our country are absolutely dying with what they've done. They've destroyed the economy. And all you have to do is look at a poll. The polls say 80 and 85 and even 90% that the Trump economy was great, that their economy was terrible.
Vice President Harris, I do want to ask for your response, and you heard what the president said there, because the Biden administration did keep a number of the Trump tariffs in place. So how do you respond?
Well, let's be clear that the Trump administration resulted in a trade deficit, one of the highest we've ever seen in the history of America. He invited trade wars. You want to talk about his deal with China? What he ended up doing is under Donald Trump's presidency, he ended up selling American chips to China to help them improve and modernize their military, basically sold us out, when a policy about China should be in making sure the United States of America wins the competition for the 21st century, which means focusing on the details of what that requires, focusing on relationships with our allies, focusing on investing in American-based technology so that we win the race on AI, on quantum computing, focusing on what we need to do to support America's workforce so that we don't end up having on the short end of the stick in terms of workers' rights. But what Donald Trump did, let's talk about this, with COVID, is he actually thanked President Xi for what he did during COVID. Look at his tweet. Thank you, President Xi, exclamation point, when we know that Xi was responsible for lacking and not giving us transparency about the origins of COVID.
President Trump, I'll let you respond.
First of all, they bought their chips from Taiwan. We hardly make chips anymore because of philosophies like they have and policies like they have. I don't see her because she has no policy. Everything that she believed 3 years ago and 4 years ago is out the window. She's going to my philosophy now. In fact, I was going to send her a MAGA hat. She's gone to my philosophy. But if she ever got elected, she'd change it. And it will.
Hey, bro, this nigga funny. I ain't gonna.
She's a Marxist. Everybody knows she's a Marxist. Her father's a Marxist professor in economics, and he taught her well. But when you look at what she's done to our country, and when you look at these millions and millions of people that are pouring into our country monthly, where it's, I believe, 21 million people, not the 15 that people say, and I think it's a lot higher than the 21. That's bigger than New York State pouring in. And just look at what they're doing to our country. They're criminals. Many of these people coming in are criminals. And that's bad for our economy, too. You know, you mentioned before, we'll talk about immigration later. Well, bad immigration is the worst thing that can happen to our economy. They have, and she has, destroyed our country with policy that's insane. Almost policy that you'd say they have to hate our country.
President Trump, thank you. Lindsay?
I want to turn to the issue of abortion. President Trump, you've often touted that you were able to kill Roe v. Wade. Last year, you said that you were proud to be the most pro-life president in American history. Then last month, you said that your administration would be great for women and their reproductive rights. In your home state of Florida, you surprised many with regard to your 6-week abortion ban because you initially had said that it was too short. And you said, quote, I'm going to be voting that we need more than 6 weeks. But then the very next day, you reversed course and said you would vote to support the 6-week ban. Vice President Harris says that women shouldn't trust you on the issue of abortion because you've changed your position so many times. Therefore, why should they trust you?
Well, the reason I'm doing that vote is because the plan is, as you know, the vote is, they have abortion in the 9th month. They even have, and you can look at the governor of West Virginia, the previous governor of West Virginia, not the current governor, is doing an excellent job, but the governor before, he said the baby will be born and we will decide what to do with the baby. In other words, we'll execute the baby. And that's why I did that, because that predominates, because they're radical. The Democrats are radical in that. And her vice presidential pick, which I think was a horrible pick, by the way, for our country, because he is really out of it. But her vice presidential pick says abortion in the 9th month is absolutely fine. He also says execution after birth. It's execution, no longer abortion, because the baby is born, is okay. And that's not okay with me, hence the vote. But what I did is something for 52 years. They've been trying to get Roe v. Wade into the states. And through the genius and heart and strength of 6 Supreme Court justices, we were able to do that. Now, I believe in the exceptions for rape, incest, and life of the mother. I believe strongly in it. Ronald Reagan did also. 85% of Republicans do. Exceptions, very important. But we were able to get it, and now states are voting on it. And for the first time, you're going to see, look, this is an issue that's torn our country apart for 52 years. Every legal scholar, every Democrat, every Republican, liberal, conservative, they all wanted this issue to be brought back to the states where the people could vote. And that's what happened. Now, Ohio, the vote was somewhat liberal. Kansas, the vote was somewhat liberal, much more liberal than people would have thought. But each individual state is voting. It's the vote of the people now. It's not tied up in the federal government. I did a great service in doing it. It took courage to do it. And the Supreme Court had great courage in doing it. And I give tremendous credit to those 6 justices.
There is no state in this country where it is legal to kill a baby after it's born. Madam Vice President, I want to get your response to President Trump.
Well, as I said, you're going to hear a bunch of lies, and that's not actually a surprising fact. Let's understand how we got here. Donald Trump hand-selected 3 members of the United States Supreme Court with the intention that they would undo the protections of Roe v. Wade. And they did exactly as he intended. And now in over 20 states, there are Trump abortion bans, which make it criminal for a doctor or nurse to provide health care. In one state, it provides prison for life. Trump abortion bans that make no exception even for rape and incest, which understand what that means. A survivor of a crime of violation to their body does not have the right to make a decision about what happens to their body next. That is immoral. And one does not have to abandon their faith or deeply held beliefs to agree. The government, and Donald Trump certainly, should not be telling a woman what to do with her body. I have talked with women around our country. You want to talk about this is what people wanted? Pregnant women who want to carry a pregnancy to term, suffering from a miscarriage, being denied care in an emergency room because the healthcare providers are afraid they might go to jail, and she's bleeding out in a car in the parking lot. She didn't want that. Her husband didn't want that. A 12 or 13-year-old survivor of incest being forced to carry a pregnancy to term. They don't want that. And I pledge to you, when Congress passes a bill to put back in place the protections of Roe v. Wade, as President of the United States, I will proudly sign it into law. But understand, if Donald Trump were to be reelected, he will sign a national abortion ban. Understand, in his Project 2025, there would be a national abortion, a monitor that would be monitoring your pregnancies, your miscarriages. I think the American people believe that certain freedoms, in particular the freedom to make decisions about one's own body, should not be made by the government.
Thank you, Vice President Harris.
Well, there she goes again. It's a lie. I'm not signing a ban, and there's no reason to sign a ban because we've gotten what everybody wanted. Democrats, Republicans, and everybody else, and every legal scholar wanted it to be brought back into the states, and the states are voting. And it may take a little time, but for 52 years, this issue has torn our country apart, and they've wanted it back in the states. And I did something that nobody thought was possible. The states are now voting. What she says is an absolute lie. And as far as the abortion ban, no, I'm not in favor of abortion ban, but it doesn't matter because this issue has now been taken over by the states.
Would you veto a national abortion ban if it came to
Well, I
your
won't
desk?
have to because, again, two things. Number one, she said she'll go back to Congress. She'll never get the vote. It's impossible for her to get the vote, especially now with the 50-50, and essentially 50-50 in both Senate and the House. She's not going to get the vote. She can't get the vote. She won't even come close to it. So it's just talk. You know what it reminds me of when they said they're going to get student loans terminated, and it ended up being a total catastrophe. The student loans, and then her, I think probably her boss, if you call him a boss, he spends all his time on the beach. But look, her boss went out and said, we'll do it again. We'll do it a different way. And he went out, got rejected again by the Supreme Court. So all these students got taunted with this whole thing about this whole idea, and how unfair that would have been. Part of the reason they lost to the millions and millions of people that had to pay off their student loans. They didn't get it for free, but they were saying it's the same way that they talked about that they talk about abortion.
But if I could just get a yes or no, because your running mate, J.D. Vance, has said that you would veto it if it did come to your desk.
Well, I didn't discuss it with J.D. In all fairness, J.D., and I don't mind if he has a certain view, but I think he was speaking for me, but I really didn't. Look, we don't have to discuss it because she'd never be able to get it, just like she couldn't get student loans. They couldn't get student loans. They didn't even come close to getting student loans. They taunted young people and a lot of other people that had loans. They can never get this approved. So it doesn't matter what she says about going to Congress. Well, wonderful. Let's go to Congress, do it. But the fact is that for years, they wanted to get it out of Congress and out of the federal government. And we did something that everybody said couldn't be done. And now you have a vote of the people on abortion.
Vice President Harris, I want to give you your time to respond, but I do want to ask, would you support any restrictions on a woman's right to an abortion?
I absolutely support reinstating the protections of Roe v. Wade. And as you rightly mentioned, nowhere in America is a woman carrying a pregnancy to term and in asking for an abortion. That is not happening. It's insulting to the women of America. And understand what has been happening under Donald Trump's abortion bans. Couples who pray and dream of having a family are being denied IVF treatments. What is happening?
Have y'all
in our
noticed that they
country?
don't answer with
Working
yes or
people,
no?
Working women who are working 1 or 2 jobs, who can barely afford childcare as it is.
I'll say
have
this.
to travel
That
to
was her
another
chance to
state
get one up on
get on
him.
a
If she
plane,
would have
sitting
answered
next to
yes, but
strangers,
she has
to
talked
go and
in
get the
circles.
healthcare
But I don't
she
know. I'm not
needs.
choosing a side. I'm just saying.
Barely can afford to do it, and what you are putting her through is unconscionable. And the people of America have not, the majority of Americans believe in a woman's right to make decisions about
This
her own
was in her
body.
court when Trump
that is
jumped out
why
there with that 9th month
in every
thing.
state
But
where this issue has been on the ballot, in red and blue states both, the people of America have voted for freedom.
Vice President Harris,
Excuse me, I
thank
have
you.
to respond. Another lie. It's another lie. I have been a leader on IVF, which is fertilization. The IVF, I have been a leader. In fact, when they got a very negative decision on IVF from the Alabama courts, I saw the people of Alabama and the legislature 2 days later voted it in. I've been a leader on it. They know that, and everybody else knows it. I have been a leader on fertilization, IVF. And the other thing, you should ask, will she allow abortion in the 8th month, 9th month, 7th month?
Come on.
Okay, would you do that? Why don't you ask her
Why-
that question?
why don't you
That's
answer
the
the
problem.
question, would you
Because under
veto?
Roe v.
Answer
Wade,
the question,
you
would you
could
veto?
do abortions in the 7th month, the 8th month, the 9th
That's
month,
not true.
and probably after birth. Just look at the former governor of Virginia. The governor of Virginia said, we put the baby aside and then we determine what we want to do with the baby.
President Trump, thank you.
We're going to turn now to immigration and border security. We know it's an issue that's important to Republicans, Democrats, voters across the board in this country. Vice President Harris, you were tasked by President Biden with getting to the root causes of migration from Central America. We know that illegal border crossings reached a record high in the Biden administration. This past June, President Biden imposed tough new asylum restrictions. We know the numbers since then have dropped significantly. But my question to you tonight is, why did the administration wait until 6 months before the election to act? And would you have done anything differently from President Biden on this?
So I'm the only person on this stage who has prosecuted transnational criminal organizations for the traffic. United States Congress, including some of the most conservative members of the United States Senate, came up with a border security bill, which I supported. And that bill would have put 1,500 more border agents on the border to help those folks who are working there right now overtime, trying to do their job. It would have allowed us to stem the flow of fentanyl coming into the United States. I know there are so many families watching tonight who have been personally affected by the surge of fentanyl in our country. That bill would have put more resources to allow us to prosecute transnational criminal organizations for trafficking in guns, drugs, and human beings. But you know what happened to that bill? Donald Trump got on the phone, called up some folks in Congress and said, kill the bill. And you know why? Because he'd prefer to run on a problem instead of fixing a problem. And understand, this comes at a time where the people of our country actually need a leader who engages in solutions, who actually addresses the problems at hand. But what we have in the former president is someone who would prefer to run on a problem instead of fixing a problem. And I'll tell you something, he's going to talk about immigration a lot tonight, even when it's not the subject that is being raised. And I'm going to actually do something really unusual, and I'm going to invite you to attend one of Donald Trump's rallies, because it's a really interesting thing to watch. You will see during the course of his rallies, he talks about fictional characters like Hannibal Lecter. He will talk about windmills cause cancer. And what you will also notice is that people start leaving his rallies early out of exhaustion and boredom. And I will tell you, the one thing you will not hear him talk about is you. You will not hear him talk about your needs, your dreams, and your desires. And I'll tell you, I believe you deserve a president who actually puts you first. And I pledge to you that I will.
Vice President Harris, thank you. President Trump, on that point, I want to get your response.
Well, I would
So
like to respond.
let me just ask, though, why did you try to kill that bill, and successfully so? That would have put thousands of additional agents and officers on the border.
First, let me respond as to the
Please.
rallies. She said people start leaving. People don't go to her rallies. There's no reason to go. And the people that do go, she's bussing them in and paying them to be there, and then showing them in a different light. So she can't talk about that. People don't leave my rallies. We have the biggest rallies, the most incredible rallies in the history of politics. That's because people want to take their country back. Our country is being lost. We're a failing nation. And it happened 3.5 years ago. And what's going on here, you're going to end up in World War III, just to go into another subject. What they have done to our country by allowing these millions and millions of people to come into our country, and look at what's happening to the towns all over the United States. And a lot of towns don't want to talk. It's not going to be Aurora or Springfield. A lot of towns don't want to talk about it because they're so embarrassed by it. In Springfield, they're eating the dogs, the people that came in. They're eating the cats. They're eating the pets of the people that live there. And this is what's happening in our country. And it's a shame. As far as rallies are concerned, as far as the reason they go is they like what I say. They want to bring our country back. They want to make America great again. It's a very simple phrase, make America great again.
Damn, I don't know what happened, y'all. Hold on. We finna get it right. We gotta figure something out. Y'all stay tuned. We lost it. Hold on. See it then. What y'all doing, man? Is y'all still in there? Yeah, we froze, bro. Y'all can hear me? Let me see if I can find somebody else watching it real quick. Hold on. Yeah, man, they didn't tripped out. Hold on. We finna find something. Hold on. Let's get to it.
I chose Wix for my business because of its massive scope.
Hold on, y'all. My bad, man. I don't know what CNN had going on.
Is eaten by the people that went there.
Again,
Hold on. What the hell? Say, y'all, I think they cut it. Yeah, something happened. That ain't us, y'all. That something happened live. Maybe they cut it because of what Donald Trump said. They cut the live. We gonna get it right back. Y'all turn it up. Appreciate y'all tapping in, bro. They cut the stream, bro. They killed the stream. I don't know if they killed the stream or see it. No, they killed the stream, period, because it's not working on here either. Maybe Trump got too real on that. Hold on. We gonna bring it back, man. Y'all turn it back up. Hold on. Let's see, is it back yet?
Are not being addressed. I think the choice is clear in this election.
President Trump, I'll give you a quick minute to respond
Yeah.
here.
Thank you. Because when I hear that, see, I'm a different kind of a person. I fired most of those people, not so graciously. They did bad things or a bad job. I fired them. They never fired one person. They didn't fire anybody having to do with Afghanistan and the Taliban and the 13 people who's were just killed, viciously and violently killed. And I got to know the parents and the family. They didn't fire. They should have fired all those generals, all those top people, because that was one of the most incompetently handled situations anybody has ever seen. So when somebody does a bad job, I fire him. And you take a guy like Esper, he was no good, I fired him. So he writes a book. Another one writes a book, because with me, they can write books. With nobody else can they? But they have done such a poor job, and they never fire anybody. Look at the economy. Look at the inflation. They didn't fire any of their economists. They have the same people. That's a good way not to have books written about you. But just to finish, I got more votes than any Republican in history by far. In fact, I got more votes than any president, sitting president in history by far.
Let me continue on immigration. It was what you wanted to talk about earlier. So let's get back to your deportation proposal that the vice president has reacted to as well. President Trump, you call this the largest domestic deportation operation in the history of our country. You say you would use the National Guard. You say if things get out of control, you'd have no problem using the U.S.
With local
military.
police, yes.
You also said you would use local police. How would you deport 11 million undocumented immigrants? I know you believe that number is much higher. Take us through this. What does this look like? Will authorities be going door to door in this country?
Yeah, it is much higher because of them. They allowed criminals, many millions of criminals. They allowed terrorists. They allowed common street criminals. They allowed people to come in, drug dealers, to come into our country. And they're now in the United States and told by their countries like Venezuela, don't ever come back or we're going to kill you. Do you know that crime in Venezuela and crime in countries all over the world is way down? You know why? Because they've taken their criminals off the street and they've given them to her to put into our country. And this will be one of the greatest mistakes in history for them to allow. And I think they probably did it because they think they're going to get votes, but it's not worth it because they're destroying the fabric of our country by what they've done. There's never been anything done like this at all. They've destroyed the fabric of our country. Millions of people let in, and all over the world, crime is down all over the world except here. Crime here is up and through the roof. Despite their fraudulent statements that they made, crime in this country is through the roof. And we have a new form of crime. It's called migrant crime. And it's happening at levels that nobody thought possible.
President Trump, as you know, the FBI says overall violent crime is actually coming down in this country. But
excuse me, the FBI they were defrauding statements. They didn't include the worst cities. They didn't include the cities with the worst crime. It was a fraud. Just like their number of 818,000 jobs that they said they created turned out to be a fraud.
President Trump, thank you. I'll let you respond, Vice President Harris.
Well, I think this is so rich coming from someone who has been prosecuted for national security crimes, economic crimes, election interference, has been found liable for sexual assault, and his next big court appearance is in November at his own criminal sentencing. And let's be clear where each person stands on the issue of what is important about respect for the rule of law and respect for law enforcement. The former vice president called for defunding federal law enforcement, 45,000 agents, get this, on the day after he was arraigned on 34 felony counts. So let's talk about what is important in this race. It is important that we move forward, that we turn the page on this same old tired rhetoric and address the needs of the American people, address what we need to do about the housing shortage, which I have a plan for, address what we must do to support our small businesses, address bringing down the price of groceries. But frankly, the American people are exhausted with this same old tired playbook.
Vice President Harris, thank you.
Excuse me. Every one of those cases was started by them against their political opponent. And I'm winning most of them, and I will win the rest on appeal. And you saw that with the decision that came down just recently from the Supreme Court. I'm winning most of them. But those are cases, it's called weaponization. Never happened in this country. They weaponized the Justice Department. Every one of those cases was involved with the DOJ, from Atlanta and Fani Willis to the Attorney General of New York and the DA in New York. Every one of those cases. And then they say, oh, he's a criminal. They're the ones that made them go after me. By the way, Joe Biden was found essentially guilty on the documents case. And what happened in my documents case? They said, oh, that's the toughest of them all. A complete and total victory. 2 months ago, it was thrown out. It's weaponization, and they used it, and it's never happened in this country. They used it to try and win an election. They're fake cases.
President Trump, thank you. A really quick response here, Vice President Harris, on this notion of weaponization of the Justice Department.
Well, let's talk about extreme and understand the context in which this election in 2024 is taking place. The United States Supreme Court recently ruled that the former president would essentially be immune from any misconduct if he were to enter the White House again. Understand, this is someone who has openly said he would terminate, I'm quoting, terminate the Constitution of the United States, that he would weaponize the Department of Justice against his political enemies. Someone who has openly expressed disdain for members of our military. Understand what it would mean if Donald Trump were back in the White House with no guardrails, because certainly we know now the court won't stop him. We know J.D. Vance is not going to stop him. It's up to the American people
Vice
to
President
stop
Harris.
him.
Thank you. Lindsay?
Vice President Harris, in your last run for president.
We got to
This is the
continue
one
here.
that weaponized, not me. She weaponized. I
This
probably
nigga's
took
sick,
a bullet to
man.
the head because of the things that they say about me. They talk about democracy. I'm a threat to democracy. They're the threat to democracy with a
President
fake
Trump,
Russia investigation
We do have a lot to
that
get.
went nowhere.
We have a lot to get to. Lindsay?
Vice President Harris, in your last run for president, you said you wanted to ban fracking. Now you don't. You wanted mandatory government buyback programs for assault weapons. Now your campaign says you don't. You supported decriminalizing border crossings. Now you're taking a harder line. I know you say that your values have not changed. So then why have so many of your policy positions changed?
Uh-oh.
So my values have not changed, and I'm going to discuss every one of at least every point that you've made. But in particular, let's talk about fracking because we're here in Pennsylvania. I made that very clear in 2020. I will not ban fracking. I have not banned fracking as Vice President of the United States. And in fact, I was the tie-breaking vote on the Inflation Reduction Act, which opened new leases for fracking. My position is that we have got to invest in diverse sources of energy so we reduce our reliance on foreign oil. We have had the largest increase in domestic oil production in history because of an approach that recognizes that we cannot over-rely on foreign oil. As it relates to my values, let me tell you, I grew up a middle-class kid raised by a hardworking mother who worked and saved and was able to buy our first home when I was a teenager. The values I bring to the importance of home ownership, knowing not everybody got handed $400 million on a silver platter and then filed bankruptcy 6 times, is a value that I bring to my work to say we are going to work with the private sector and home builders to increase 3 million homes, increase by 3 million homes by the end of my first term. My work that is related to having a friend when I was in high school who was sexually assaulted by her stepfather. And my focus then on protecting women and children from violent crime is based on a value that is deeply grounded in the importance of standing up for those who are most vulnerable. My work that is about protecting Social Security and Medicare is based on longstanding work that I have done, protecting seniors from scams. My values have not changed. And what is important is that there is a president who actually brings values and a perspective that is about lifting people up and not beating people down and name calling. The true measure of the leader is the leader who actually understands the strength is not in beating people down, it's in lifting people up. I intend to be that president.
President Trump, your
Well, first of
response?
all, I wasn't given $400 million. I wish I was. My father was a Brooklyn builder, Brooklyn, Queens, and a great father, and I learned a lot from him. But I was given a fraction of that, a tiny fraction, and I built it into many, many billions of dollars, many, many billions. And when people see it, they are even surprised. So we don't have to talk about that. Fracking, she's been against it for 12 years. Defund the police, she's been against that forever. She gave all that stuff up very wrongly, very horribly, and everybody's laughing at it, okay? They're all laughing at it. She gave up at least 12 and probably 14 or 15 different policies. Like, she was big on defund the police. In Minnesota, she went out, wait a minute, I'm talking now, if you don't mind, please. Does that sound familiar? She went out in Minnesota
Get the
and
fuck
wanted
out
to
of
let
here.
criminals that killed people, that burned down Minneapolis, she went out and raised money to get them out of jail. She did things that nobody would ever think of. Now she wants to do transgender operations on illegal aliens that are in prison. This is a radical left liberal that would do this. She wants to confiscate your guns, and she will never allow fracking in Pennsylvania. If she won the election, fracking in Pennsylvania will end on day one. Just to finish one thing, so important in my opinion. So I got the oil business going like nobody has ever done before. When they took over, they got rid of it, started getting rid of it, and the prices were going up the roof. They immediately let these guys go to where they were. I would have been 5 times, 4 times, 5 times higher, because you're talking about 3.5 years ago. They got it up to where I was because they had no choice, because the prices of energy were quadrupling and doubling. You saw what happened to gasoline. So they said, let's go back to Trump. But if she won the election, the day after that election, they'll go back to destroying our country, and oil will be dead. Fossil fuel will be dead. We'll go back to windmills, and we'll go back to solar, where they need a whole desert to get some energy to come out. You ever see a solar plant? By the way, I'm a big fan of solar, but they take 400, 500 acres of desert. These are not good things for the environment, as she understands.
Thank you.
Lindsay, thank you. We have an election in just 56 days. And I want to talk about the peaceful transfer of power, which, of course, we all know is a cornerstone of our democracy, and the role of a president.
It's both, Will be. It's both.
Mr. President, on January 6th, you told your supporters to march to the Capitol. You said you would be right there with them. The country and the world saw what played out at the Capitol that day, the officers coming under attack. Aides in the West Wing say you watched it unfold on television off the Oval Office. You did send out tweets, but it was more than 2 hours before you sent out that video message telling your supporters to go home. Is there anything you regret about what you did on that day?
You just said a thing that isn't covered. Peacefully and patriotically, I said during my speech, not later on. Peacefully and patriotically. And nobody on the other side was killed. Ashley Babbitt was shot by an out-of-control police officer that should have never, ever shot her. It's a disgrace. But we didn't do this group of people that have been treated so badly. I ask, what about all the people that are pouring into our country and killing people that she allowed to pour in? She was the border czar. Remember that. She was the border czar. She doesn't want to be called the border czar because she's embarrassed by the border. In fact, she said at the beginning, oh, I'm surprised you're not talking about the border yet. That's because she knows what a bad job they've done. What about those people? When are they going to be prosecuted? When are these people from countries all over the world, not just South America? They're coming in from all over the world, David, all over the world. And crime rates are down all over the world because of it.
But let me just ask you,
David, when are those people going to be prosecuted? When are the people that burned down Minneapolis going to be prosecuted? Or in Seattle? They went into Seattle. They took over a big percentage of the city of Seattle. When are those people going to be prosecuted?
But let me just ask you.
You might ask her that question.
You were the president. You were watching it unfold on television. It's a very simple question as we move forward toward another election. Is there anything you regret about what you did on that day? Yes or no?
I had nothing to do with that other than they asked me to make a speech. I showed up for a speech. I said, I think it's going to be big. I went to Nancy Pelosi and the mayor of Washington, D.C., and the mayor put it back in writing, as you know. I said, this is going to be a very big rally or whatever you want to call it. And again, it wasn't done by me. It was done by others. I said, I'd like to give you 10,000 National Guard or soldiers. They rejected me. Nancy Pelosi rejected me. It was just 2 weeks ago. Her daughter has a tape of her saying she is fully responsible for what happened. They want to get rid of that tape. It would have never happened if Nancy Pelosi and the mayor of Washington did their jobs. I wasn't responsible for security. Nancy Pelosi was responsible. She didn't do her job.
The question was about you as president, not about former Speaker Pelosi, but I do want Vice President Harris to respond here.
I was at the Capitol on January 6th. I was the vice president-elect. I was also an acting senator. I was there. And on that day, the president of the United States incited a violent mob to attack our nation's capital, to desecrate our nation's capital. On that day, 140 law enforcement officers were injured, and some died. And understand, the former president has been indicted and impeached for exactly that reason. But this is not an isolated situation. Let's remember Charlottesville, where there was a mob of people carrying tiki torches, spewing anti-Semitic hate. And what did the president then at the time say? There were fine people on each side. Let's remember that when it came to the Proud Boys, a militia, the former president said, stand back and stand by. So for everyone watching who remembers what January 6th was, I say we don't have to go back. Let's not go back. We're not going back. It's time to turn the page. And if that was a bridge too far for you, well, there is a place in our campaign for you to stand for country, to stand for our democracy, to stand for rule of law, and to end the chaos, and to end the approach that is about attacking the foundations of our democracy because you don't like the outcome. And be clear on that point. Donald Trump, the candidate, has said in this election there will be a bloodbath if this and the outcome of this election is not to his liking. Let's turn the page on this. Let's not go back. Let's chart a course for the future and not go backwards to the past.
Let me just follow up here.
It was a different term, and it was a term that related to energy because they have destroyed our energy business. That was where bloodbath was. Also, on Charlottesville, that story has been, as you would say, debunked. Laura Ingraham, Sean Hannity, Jesse, all of these people, they covered it. If they go an extra sentence, they will see it was perfect. It was debunked in almost every newspaper, but they still bring it up, just like they bring 2025 up. They bring all of this stuff up. I ask you this, you talk about the Capitol. Why are we allowing these millions of people to come through on the southern border? How come she's not doing anything? And I'll tell you what I would do, and I would be very proud to do it. I would say we would both leave this debate right now. I'd like to see her go down to Washington, D.C. during this debate because we're wasting a lot of time. Go down to, because she's been so bad, it's so ridiculous. Go down to Washington, D.C. and let her sign a bill to close up the border because they have the right to do it. They don't need bills. They have the right to do it. The president of the United States, you'll get him out of bed. You'll wake him up at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Right. You'll say, come on down to the office. Let's sign a bill. If he signs a bill that the border is closed, all he has to do is say it to the Border Patrol, who are phenomenal. If they do that, the border is closed.
Mr.
Those
President,
people are killing many people, unlike J6.
We talked immigration here tonight. I do want to focus on this next issue to both of you because it really brings us this into focus, truth in these times that we're living in. Mr. President, for 3.5 years after you lost the 2020 election, you repeatedly falsely claimed that you won, many times saying you won in a landslide. In the past couple of weeks leading up to this debate, you have said, quote, you lost by a whisker, that you, quote, didn't quite make it, that you came up a little bit short.
I said that?
Are you now acknowledging that you lost in 2020?
No, I don't acknowledge it at all.
But
I
you
said
did
that
say
sarcastically.
That.
You know that. It was said, oh, we lost by a whisker. That was said sarcastically. Look, there's so much proof. All you have to do is look at it. And they should have sent it back to the legislatures for approval. I got almost 75 million votes, the most votes any sitting president has ever gotten. I was told if I got 63, which was what I got in 2016, you can't be beaten. The election, people should never be thinking about it. An election is fraudulent. We need two things. We need walls. And we have to have it. We have to have borders, and we have to have good elections. Our elections are bad. And a lot of these illegal immigrants coming in, they're trying to get them to vote. They can't even speak English. They don't even know what country they're in practically. And these people are trying to get them to vote. And that's why they're allowing them to come into our country.
I did watch all of these pieces of video. I didn't detect the sarcasm, lost by a whisker. We didn't quite make it. And we should just point out here as clarification, and you know this, you and your allies, 60 cases in front of many judges, many of them Republican.
No judge looked at it.
And said
they said we didn't have standing.
Fraud.
That's the other thing. They said we didn't have standing, a technicality. Can you imagine a system where a person in an election doesn't have standing? The president of the United States doesn't have standing. That's how we lost. If you look at the facts, and I'd love to have you'll do a special on it. I'll show you Georgia, and I'll show you Wisconsin, and I'll show you Pennsylvania, and I'll show you. We have so many facts and statistics, but you know what? That doesn't matter because we have to solve the problem that we have right now. That's old news. And the problem that we have right now is we have a nation in decline, and they have put it into decline. We have a nation that is dying, David.
Mr. President, thank you. Vice President Harris, you heard the president there tonight. He said he didn't say that he lost by a whisker. So he still believes he did not lose the election. that was won by President Biden and yourself. But I do want to ask you about something that's come up in the last couple of days. This was a post from President Trump about this upcoming election just weeks away. He said, "When I win, those people who cheated," and then he lists donors, voters, election officials, he says, "will be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law, which will include long-term prison sentences." One of your campaign's top lawyers responded saying, "We won't let Donald Trump intimidate us. We won't let him suppress the vote." Is that what you believe he's trying to do here?
Donald Trump was fired by 81 million people. So let's be clear about that. And clearly he is having a very difficult time processing that. But we cannot afford to have a president of the United States who attempts, as he did in the past, to upend the will of the voters in a free and fair election. And I'm going to tell you that I have traveled the world as Vice President of the United States, and world leaders are laughing at Donald Trump. I have talked with military leaders, some of whom worked with you, and they say you're a disgrace. And when you then talk in this way in a presidential debate and deny what over and over again are court cases you have lost because you did in fact lose that election, it leads one to believe that perhaps we do not have in the candidate to my right the temperament or the ability to not be confused about fact. That's deeply troubling, and the American people deserve better.
I'll give you 1 minute to respond, Mr. President.
Let me just say about world leaders. Viktor Orban, one of the most respected men, they call him a strong man. He's a tough person, smart, Prime Minister of Hungary. They said, "Why is the whole world blowing up?" 3 years ago, it wasn't. Why is it blowing up? He said, "Because you need Trump back as president." They were afraid of him. China was afraid, and I don't like to use the word afraid, but I'm just quoting him. China was afraid of him. North Korea was afraid of him. Look at what's going on with North Korea, by the way. He said Russia was afraid of him. I ended the Nord Stream 2 pipeline, and Biden put it back on day one, but he ended the XL pipeline. The XL pipeline in our country, he ended that. But he let the Russians build a pipeline going all over Europe and heading into Germany, the biggest pipeline in the world. Look, Viktor Orban said it. He said the most respected, most feared person is Donald Trump. We had no problems when Trump was president. But when this weak, pathetic man that you saw at a debate just a few months ago, that if he weren't in that debate, he'd be running instead of her. She got no votes. He got 14 million votes. What you did, you talk about a threat to democracy. He got 14 million votes and they threw him out of office. And you know what? I'll give you a little secret. He hates her. He can't stand her. But he got 14 million votes.
What the fuck is this thing?
She got 0 votes. And when she ran, she was the first one to leave because she failed. And now she's running. I don't understand it, but
Mr.
I'm
President,
okay with it because
your time
I
is up.
think we're
Thank
going to
you.
do very well.
We've got a lot more to get to.
Turning now
Yes.
to the Israel-Hamas war and the hostages who are still being held, Americans among them. Vice President Harris, in December, you said, quote, Israel has a right to defend itself, but you added, quote, it matters how, saying international humanitarian law must be respected. Israel must do more to protect innocent civilians. You said that 9 months ago. Now an estimated 40,000 Palestinians are dead. Nearly 100 hostages remain. Just last week, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said there's not a deal in the making. President Biden has not been able to break through the stalemate. How would you do it?
Well, let's understand how we got here. On October 7, Hamas, a terrorist organization, slaughtered 1,200 Israelis. Many of them young people who were simply attending a concert. Women were horribly raped. And so absolutely, I said then, I say now, Israel has a right to defend itself. We would. And how it does so matters, because it is also true, far too many innocent Palestinians have been killed. Children, mothers. What we know is that this war must end. It must end immediately, and the way it will end is we need a ceasefire deal and we need the hostages out. And so we will continue to work around the clock on that. Work around the clock, also understanding that we must chart a course for a two-state solution. And in that solution, there must be security for the Israeli people and Israel, and in equal measure for the Palestinians. But the one thing I will assure you always, I will always give Israel the ability to defend itself, in particular as it relates to Iran and any threat that Iran and its proxies pose to Israel. But we must have a two-state solution where we can rebuild Gaza, where the Palestinians have security, self-determination, and the dignity they so rightly deserve.
President Trump, how would you negotiate with Netanyahu and also Hamas in order to get the hostages out and prevent the killing of more innocent civilians in Gaza?
If I were president, it would have never started. If I were president, Russia would have never, ever, I know Putin very well, he would have never, and there was no threat of it either, by the way, for 4 years, have gone into Ukraine and killed millions of people when you add it up, far worse than people understand what's going on over there. But when she mentions about Israel, all of a sudden, she hates Israel. She wouldn't even meet with Netanyahu when he went to Congress to make a very important speech. She refused to be there because she was at a sorority party of hers. She wanted to go to the sorority party. She hates Israel. If she's president, I believe that Israel will not exist within 2 years from now. And I've been pretty good at predictions, and I hope I'm wrong about that one. She hates Israel. At the same time, in her own way, she hates the Arab population because the whole place is going to get blown up. Arabs, Jewish people, Israel will be gone. It would have never happened. Iran was broke under Donald Trump. Now Iran has $300 billion because they took off all the sanctions that I had. Iran had no money for Hamas or Hezbollah or any of the 28 different spheres of terror. And they are spheres of terror, horrible terror. They had no money. It was a big story, and you know it. You covered it very well, actually. They had no money for terror. They were broke. Now they're a rich nation. And now what they're doing is they're spreading that money around. Look at what's happening with the Houthis and Yemen. Look at what's going on in the Middle East. This would have never happened. I will get that settled and fast, and I'll get the war with Ukraine and Russia ended. If I'm president-elect, I'll get it done before even becoming president.
Vice President Harris, he says you hate Israel.
That's absolutely not true. I have my entire career and life supported Israel and the Israeli people. He knows that. He's trying to, again, divide and distract from the reality, which is it is very well known that Donald Trump is weak and wrong on national security and foreign policy. It is well known that he admires dictators, wants to be a dictator on day one, according to himself. It is well known that he said of Putin that he can do whatever the hell he wants and go into Ukraine. It is well known that he said when Russia went into Ukraine, it was brilliant. It is well known he exchanged love letters with Kim Jong-un. And it is absolutely well known that these dictators and autocrats are rooting for you to be president again because they're so clear they can manipulate you with flattery and favors. And that is why so many military leaders who you have worked with have told me you are a disgrace. That is why we understand that we have to have a president who is not consistently weak and wrong on
Vice
national
President
security,
Harris.
including the importance of upholding and respecting in highest regard our military.
Vice President Harris, thank you.
They're the ones, and she's the one that caused it, that's weak on national security by allowing every nation last month for the year, 168 different countries sending people into our country. Their crime rates are way down. Putin endorsed her last week, said, I hope she wins. And I think he meant it because what he's gotten away with is absolutely incredible. It wouldn't have happened with me. The leaders of other countries think that they're weak and incompetent, and they are. They're grossly incompetent. And I just ask one question. Why does Biden go in and kill the Keystone Pipeline and approve the single biggest deal that Russia's ever made, Nord Stream 2, the biggest pipeline anywhere in the world going to Germany and all over Europe? because they're weak and they're ineffective. And Biden, by the way,
President
gets paid
Trump,
a lot of money.
Thank you. We have a lot of issues to get to.
We'll be right back with much more of this historic ABC News presidential debate from the National Constitution Center right here in Philadelphia. Back in a moment.
The ABC News presidential debate will continue after this.
All right. What y'all think? Quick intermission, man. Get your stuff together. We just trying to entertain a little bit so y'all don't get too bored, man. Give me a mic check, visual check. How we looking? How we sounding? We good? Is we good? I think we have another commercial break, y'all. And I got an interview coming up after this. We're going to break things down, see where y'all at with it. Everything good? All right. Well, we'll be we got the second half. I thought I heard them say at the beginning they doing 2 commercial breaks. I don't know who's winning. I will say this, there are times that Trump is just going directly to what niggas want to hear. I caught that she had one in the bag. Well, she would have won that conversation, but Kamala didn't seal the deal. That's one thing about, politics, bro. They don't like to answer things directly. They don't want to answer things directly a lot of the time, unless there's something they strong on. But it was one where Trump jumped out there, and he's exaggerating, but he was talking about they would allow babies to be killed after being born, basically, or right before being born, however he said it, which, we ain't with that at all. But he jumped out there with that. And then they asked Kamala, did she approve of that happening? Like abortions up to the date. And she didn't want to answer that. She didn't answer with the yes or no. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like in that one, he jumped out there and like over-exaggerated, over-talked was going. She could have sealed that one easily. But she didn't do it. She didn't answer with the yes or no. And I guess that comes from the training of being told not to answer things with yes or no. You know what I'm saying? Whether it's happening or not, it's on both sides where, like, it's things that he said, man, we know that's not happening. We know that's not happening, but that was one for her where she could have answered directly. I don't know, bro. I don't know, man. It was just one of the ones that stood out to me. Yeah, they don't say yes or no. This is every time. We did this 4 years ago. Same thing. Same thing 4 years ago when we live streamed the last one, the last debate in 2020. Yeah, well, same thing. They'll be back though in just a second. Little intermission. Get y'all get your drinks pulled up. Do what you do. Call your little thing over, call your little female over if you do that. If you smoke something, get your weed rolled up, get your drinks pulled up. We will be back. They will be back on. I'm kind of entertained now. It's turning up because of Trump. If Trump wasn't here, I'd be bored out of my mind, but we do got to document the real. We do got to document history. We got to document the facts. We have an interview that I'm going to do after this stream. After this is over, we'll break it down just a little bit. Then I have to do an interview with Tory Bush. He's got a new book out, and he's got a story he's gonna come on here and tell, break it down with his dog book and everything like that. Y'all tap into him. Went through some things in life, turned him around. Now he's writing books. He's got his story going. It's gaining attention and things like that. So mandatory, man. I want y'all to get both sides of it. I want y'all to make your own decisions. It's y'all rights to vote. It's y'all choice to vote. It's y'all opportunity to vote. And we are back. Are we back? We back.
From the National Constitution Center in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. David Muir and Lindsay
Let's
Davis.
go. Turn us up.
Welcome
Turn
back
us
to
up.
your
Hit that
David
like
News
button.
Presidential debate.
Turn
tonight.
us
We're gonna
up.
Continue here, and I want to turn to the war in Ukraine. We're now 2.5 years into this conflict. Mr. President, it has been the position of the Biden administration that we must defend Ukraine from Russia, from Vladimir Putin, to defend their sovereignty, their democracy, that it's in America's best interest to do so, arguing that if Putin wins, he may be emboldened to move even further into other countries. You have said you would solve this war in 24 hours. You said so just before the break tonight. How exactly would you do that? And I want to ask you a very simple question tonight. Do you want Ukraine to win this war?
I want the war to stop. I want to save lives that are being uselessly, people being killed by the millions. It's the millions. It's so much worse than the numbers that you're getting, which are fake numbers. Look, we're in for 250 billion or more because they don't ask Europe, which is a much bigger beneficiary to getting this thing done than we are. They're in for $150 billion less because Biden and you don't have the courage to ask Europe like I did with NATO. They paid billions and billions, hundreds of billions of dollars when I said, either you pay up or we're not going to protect you anymore. So that's maybe one of the reasons they don't like me as much as they like weak people. But you take a look at what's happening. We're in for 250 to 275 billion. They're into 100 to 150. They should be forced to equalize. With that being said, I want to get the war settled. I know Zelensky very well, and I know Putin very well. I have a good relationship, and they respect your president, okay? They respect me. They don't respect Biden. How would you respect him? Why? For what reason? He hasn't even made a phone call in 2 years to Putin, hasn't spoken to anybody. They don't even try and get it. That is a war that's dying to be settled. I will get it settled before I even become president. If I win, when I'm president-elect, and what I'll do is I'll speak to one, I'll speak to the other, I'll get them together. That war would have never happened. And in fact, when I saw Putin after I left, unfortunately left because our country has gone to hell. But after I left, when I saw him building up soldiers, he did it after I left. I said, oh, he must be negotiating. It must be a good, strong point of negotiation. Well, it wasn't, because Biden had no idea how to talk to him. He had no idea how to stop it. And now you have millions of people dead, and it's only getting worse, and it could lead to World War III. Don't kid yourself, David. We're playing with World War III, and we have a president that we don't even know if he's. Where is our president? We don't even know if he's a president.
And just to clarify
they
here,
threw him out of a campaign like a dog. We don't even know. Is he our president?
This nigga
But we have
crazy.
a president,
Mr. President,
that doesn't know he's alive.
your time is up. Just to clarify in the question, do you believe it's in the U.S. best interest for Ukraine to win this war? Yes or no?
I think it's the U.S. best interest to get this war finished and just get it done.
All right.
Negotiate a deal, because we have to stop all of these human lives from being destroyed.
I want to take this to Vice President Harris. I want to get your thoughts on support for Ukraine in this moment, but also as Commander-in-Chief, if elected, how would you deal with Vladimir Putin? And would it be any different from what we're seeing from President Biden?
Well, first of all, it's important to remind the former president, you're not running against Joe Biden, you're running against me. I believe the reason that Donald Trump says that this war would be over within 24 hours is because he would just give it up. And that's not who we are as Americans. Let's understand what happened here. I actually met with Zelensky a few days before Russia invaded, tried through force to change territorial boundaries, to defy one of the most important international rules and norms, which is the importance of sovereignty and territorial integrity. And I met with President Zelensky. I shared with him American intelligence about how he could defend himself. Days later, I went to NATO's eastern flank, to Poland and Romania. And through the work that I and others did, we brought 50 countries together to support Ukraine in its righteous defense. And because of our support, because of the air defense, the ammunition, the artillery, the javelins, the Abrams tanks that we have provided, Ukraine stands as an independent and free country. If Donald Trump were president, Putin would be sitting in Kyiv right now. And understand what that would mean, because Putin's agenda is not just about Ukraine. Understand why the European allies and our NATO allies are so thankful that you are no longer president and that we understand the importance of the greatest military alliance the world has ever known, which is NATO, and what we have done to preserve the ability of Zelensky and the Ukrainians to fight for their independence. Otherwise, Putin would be sitting in Kyiv with his eyes on the rest of Europe, starting with Poland. And why don't you tell the 800,000 Polish Americans right here in Pennsylvania how quickly you would give up for the sake of favor and what you think is a friendship with what is known to be a dictator who would eat you for lunch?
Vice President Harris, thank you. We've heard from both of you on Ukraine tonight. Afghanistan came up in the last hour. I wanted her to respond to something you said earlier, and please, I'll give you a minute here.
Putin would be sitting in Moscow, and he wouldn't have lost 300,000 men and women, but he would have been sitting in Moscow. Quiet, please. He would have been sitting in Moscow, much happier than he is right now. But eventually, you know, he's got a thing that other people don't have. He's got nuclear weapons. They don't ever talk about that. He's got nuclear weapons. Nobody ever thinks about that. And eventually, maybe he'll use them, and maybe he hasn't been that threatening, but he does have that. Something we don't even like to talk about. Nobody likes to talk about it. But just so you understand, they sent her to negotiate peace before this war started. 3 days later, he went in and he started the war because everything they said was weak and stupid. They said the wrong things. That war should have never started. She was the emissary. They sent her in to negotiate with Zelensky and Putin, and she did. And the war started 3 days later. And that's the kind of talent we have with her. She's worse than Biden. In my opinion, I think he's the worst president in the history of our country. She goes down as the worst vice president in the history of our country. But let me tell you something. She is a horrible negotiator. They sent her in to negotiate. As soon as they left, Putin did the invasion.
President Trump, thank you. You did bring up something. You said she went to negotiate with Vladimir Putin. Vice President Harris, have you ever met Vladimir Putin? Can you clarify tonight?
Yet again, I said it at the beginning of this debate, you're going to hear a bunch of lies coming from this fellow. And that is another one. When I went to meet with President Zelensky, I've now met with him over 5 times. The reality is it has been about standing as America always should, as a leader upholding international rules and norms, as a leader who shows strength, understanding that the alliances we have around the world are dependent on our ability to look out for our friends and not favor our enemies because you adore strongmen instead of caring about democracy. And that is very much what is at stake here. The President of the United States is commander-in-chief. And the American people have a right to rely on a president who understands the significance of America's role and responsibility in terms of ensuring that there is stability and ensuring we stand up for our principles and not sell them for the benefit of personal flattery.
We've talked about Ukraine and Vladimir Putin. I do want to talk about Afghanistan. It came up in the first hour of this debate. I want to move on to Afghanistan.
Stoltenberg said Trump did the most amazing thing I've ever seen. He got these countries, the 28 countries at the time, to pay up. He said, I've never seen. He's the head of NATO. He said, I've never seen. For years, we were paying almost all of NATO. We were being ripped off by European nations, both on trade and on NATO. I got them to pay up by saying one of the statements you made before, if you don't pay, we're not going to protect you.
President
Otherwise,
Trump.
we would have never gotten it. He said it was one of the most incredible jobs that he's ever seen done.
Thank you. I want to turn to Afghanistan. It came up in the first hour of the debate, and we witnessed a poignant moment today on Capitol Hill, honoring the soldiers who died in the chaotic withdrawal from Afghanistan. I do want to ask the Vice President, do you believe you bear any responsibility in the way that withdrawal played out?
Well, I will tell you, I agreed with President Biden's decision to pull out of Afghanistan. 4 presidents said they would, and Joe Biden did. And as a result, America's taxpayers are not paying the $300 million a day we were paying for that endless war. And as of today, there is not one member of the United States military who is in active duty in a combat zone in any war zone around the world, the first time this century. But let's understand how we got to where we are. Donald Trump, when he was president, negotiated one of the weakest deals you can imagine. He calls himself a deal maker. Even his national security advisor said it was a weak, terrible deal. And here's how it went down. He bypassed the Afghan government. He negotiated directly with a terrorist organization called the Taliban. The negotiation involved the Taliban getting 5,000 Taliban terrorists released. And get this, and the president at the time invited the Taliban to Camp David, a place of storied significance for us as Americans, a place where we honor the importance of American diplomacy, where we invite and receive respected world leaders. And this former president, as president, invited them to Camp David because he does not again appreciate the role and responsibility of the President of the United States to be commander-in-chief with a level of respect. And this gets back to the point of how he has consistently disparaged and demeaned members of our military, fallen soldiers, and the work that we must do to uphold the strength and the respect of the United States of America around the world.
Vice President Harris, thank you. President Trump, your response to her saying that you began the negotiations with the Taliban.
So if you take a look at that period of time, the Taliban was killing our soldiers, a lot of them, with snipers. And I got involved with the Taliban because the Taliban was doing the killing. That's the fighting force within Afghanistan. They don't bother doing that because, they deal with the wrong people all the time. But I got involved. And Abdul is the head of the Taliban. He is still the head of the Taliban. And I told Abdul, don't do it anymore. You do it anymore, you're going to have problems. And he said, why do you send me a picture of my house? I said, you're going to have to figure that out, Abdul. And for 18 months, we had nobody killed. We did have an agreement negotiated by Mike Pompeo. It was a very good agreement. The reason it was good, it was
Roger, I hear what he just said, bro.
But we wouldn't have lost the soldiers. We wouldn't have left many Americans behind, and we wouldn't have left $85 billion worth of brand new, beautiful military equipment behind. And just to finish, they blew it. The agreement said you have to do this, and they didn't do it. They didn't do it. The agreement was terminated by us because they didn't do what they were supposed to do.
I want to move on.
And these people did the worst withdrawal, and in my opinion, the most embarrassing moment in the history of our country. And by the way, that's why Russia attacked Ukraine, because they saw how incompetent she and her boss are.
President Trump, thank you. I want to move on now to race and politics in this country. Mr. President, you recently said of Vice President Harris, quote, I didn't know she was black until a number of years ago when she happened to turn black, and now she wants to be known as black. I want to ask a bigger picture question here tonight. Why do you believe it's appropriate to weigh in on the racial identity of your opponent?
I don't, and I don't care. I don't care what she is. I don't care. You make a big deal out of something. I couldn't care less. Whatever she wants to be is okay with me.
But those were your words. So
I don't know. I mean, all I can say is I read where she was not black, that she put out, and I'll say that. And then I read that she was black, and that's okay. Either one was okay with me. That's up to her. That's up to her.
Vice President Harris, your thoughts on this?
Honestly, I think it's a tragedy that we have someone who wants to be president who has consistently, over the course of his career, attempted to use race to divide the American people. I do believe that the vast majority of us know that we have so much more in common than what separates us, and we don't want this kind of approach that is just constantly trying to divide us, and especially by race. And let's remember how Donald Trump started. He was land, he owned buildings, and he was investigated because he refused to rent property to black families. Let's remember, this is the same individual who took out a full-page ad in the New York Times calling for the execution of 5 young Black and Latino boys who were innocent, the Central Park 5. Took out a full-page ad calling for their execution. This is the same individual who spread birther lies about the first Black president of the United States. And I think the American people want better than that, want better than this, want someone who understands, as I do, I travel our country. We see in each other a friend. We see in each other a neighbor. We don't want a leader who is
No, we
constantly
don't.
trying to have Americans point their fingers at each other. I meet with people all the time who tell me, can we please just have discourse about how we're going to invest in the aspirations and the ambitions and the dreams of the American people? Knowing that regardless of people's color or the language their grandmother speaks, we all have the same dreams and aspirations and want a president who invests in those, not in hate and division.
Vice President Harris, thank you. Lindsay?
President Trump, this is now your third time.
This is the most divisive presidency in the history of our
There you
country.
go.
There's never been anything like it. They're destroying our country, and they come up with things like what she just said. Going back many, many years, when a lot of people, including Mayor Bloomberg, agreed with me on the Central Park Five, they admitted, they said, they pled guilty. And I said, well, if they pled guilty, they badly hurt a person, killed a person ultimately. And if they pled guilty, then they pled, we're not guilty. But this is a person that has to stretch back years, 40, 50 years ago, because there's nothing now. I built one of the greatest economies in the history of the world, and I'm going to build it again. It's going to be bigger, better, and stronger. But they're destroying our economy. They have no idea what a good economy is. Their oil policies, every single policy. And remember this, she is Biden. You know, she's trying to get away from Biden. I don't know the gentleman, she says. She is Biden. The worst inflation we've ever had, a horrible economy because inflation has made it so bad, and she can't get away with that.
Thank you. Your time is up.
I
Lindsay.
want to respond to that, though. I want to just respond briefly. Clearly, I am not Joe Biden, and I am certainly not Donald Trump. And what I do offer is a new generation of leadership for our
Hey, bro,
country.
why that nigga be looking
who
like
believes
that?
in what is possible, one who brings a sense of optimism about what we can do instead of always disparaging the American people. I believe in what we can do to strengthen our small businesses, which is why I have a plan. Let's talk about our plans and let's compare the plans. I have a plan to give startup businesses $50,000 tax deduction, to pursue their ambitions, their innovation, their ideas, their hard work. I have a plan, $6,000 for young families for the first year of your child's life to help you in that most critical stage of your child's development. I have a plan that is about allowing people to be able to pursue what has been fleeting in terms of the American dream by offering a help with down payment of $25,000 down payment assistance for first-time home buyers. That's the kind of conversation, I believe, David, that people really want tonight, as opposed to a conversation that is constantly about belittling and name-calling. Let's turn the page
Vice President
and move
Harris,
forward.
thank you. Let's turn to policy.
President
Let's turn
Trump,
back
we
to
have
policy.
to move on. President Trump,
Let's turn to policy,
She has
please.
a plan to defund the police. She has a plan to confiscate everybody's gun.
President Trump,
She
we
has
do
a
have to
plan
move
to
on to
not
other
allow
issues.
fracking in Pennsylvania or anywhere else.
Okay.
Thank you,
That's
Mr.
what her
President.
plan is until just recently.
I just need
Lindsay,
to
go ahead.
respond
President
because
Trump-
the
President
former
Trump-
president has said
No, I'm
something
sorry.
twice that I need to
No,
respond to.
I'm sorry.
I
We're
just
gonna
need to
move
respond
on, Vice
one
President
time
Harris.
to what he has
President
said
Trump, this
multiple
is
times.
now your
Yes.
third time running for president. You have long vowed to repeal and replace the Affordable Care Act, also known as Obamacare. You have failed to accomplish that. You now say you're going to keep Obamacare, quote, unless we can do something much better. Last month, you said, quote, we're working on it. So tonight, 9 years after you first started running, do you have a plan, and can you tell us what it is?
Obamacare was lousy health care, always was. It's not very good today. And what I said, that if we come up with something, and we are working on things, we're going to do it and we're going to replace it. But remember this, I inherited Obamacare because Democrats wouldn't change it. They wouldn't vote for it. They were unanimous. They wouldn't vote to change it. If they would have done that, we would have had a much better plan than Obamacare. But the Democrats came up, they wouldn't vote for it. I had a choice to make when I was president. Do I save it and make it as good as it can be, never going to be great, or do I let it rot? And I felt I had an obligation, even though politically it would have been good to just let it rot and let it go away. I decided, and I told my people, the top people, and they're very good people. I have a lot of good people in that administration. We read about the bad ones. We had some real bad ones too, and so do they. They have really bad ones. The difference is they don't get rid of them. But let me just explain. I had a choice to make. Do I save it and make it as good as it can be, or do I let it rot? And I saved it. I did the right thing. But it's still never going to be great, and it's too expensive for people. And what we will do is we're looking at different plans. If we can come up with a plan that's going to cost our people, our population, less money and be better health care than Obamacare, then I would absolutely do it. But until then, I'd run it as good as it can be run.
So just a yes or no, you still do not have a plan?
I have concepts of a plan. I'm not president right now. But if we come up with something, I would only change it if we come up with something that's better and less expensive. And there are concepts and options we have to do that. And you'll be hearing about it in the not too distant future.
Vice President Harris, in 2017, you supported Bernie Sanders' proposal to do away with private insurance and create a government-run healthcare system. 2 years later, you proposed a plan that included a private insurance option. What is your plan today?
Well, first of all, I absolutely support, and over the last 4 years as vice president, private healthcare options. But what we need to do is maintain and grow the Affordable Care Act. But I'll get to that, Lindsay. I just need to respond to a previous point that the former president has made. I've made very clear my position on fracking. And then this business about taking everyone's guns away. Tim Walz and I are both gun owners. We're not taking anybody's guns away. So stop with the continuous lying about this stuff. As it relates to the Affordable Care Act, understand, just look at the history to know where people stand. When Donald Trump was president, 60 times he tried to get rid of the Affordable Care Act. 60 times. I was a senator at the time. When I will never forget the early morning hours when it was up for a vote in the United States Senate, and the late, great John McCain, who you have disparaged as being, you don't like him, you said at the time, because he got caught. He was an American hero. The late, great John McCain, I will never forget that night, walked onto the Senate floor and said, no, you don't. No, you don't. No, you don't get rid of the Affordable Care Act. You have no plan. And what the Affordable Care Act has done is eliminate the ability of insurance companies to deny people with pre-existing conditions. I don't have to tell the people watching tonight, you remember what that was like? Remember when an insurance company could deny if a child had asthma, if someone was a breast cancer survivor, if a grandparent had diabetes? And thankfully, as I've been vice president and we over the last 4 years have strengthened the Affordable Care Act, we have allowed for the first time Medicare to negotiate drug prices on behalf of you, the American people. Donald Trump said he was going to allow Medicare to negotiate drug prices. He never did. We did. And now we have capped the cost of insulin at $35 a month. Since I've been vice president, we have capped the cost of prescription medication for seniors at $2,000 a year. And when I am president, we will do that for all people, understanding that the value I bring to this is that access to health care should be a right and not just a privilege of those who can afford it. And the plan has to be to strengthen the Affordable Care Act, not get rid of it.
Vice
Fastest
President
prologue
Harris,
in terms
you.
of where Donald Trump stands on that.
I want to move to an issue that's important for a lot
You
of...
made a mistake. At number one, John McCain fought Obamacare for 10 years. But it wasn't only him. It were all of the Democrats that kept it going. And you know what? We can do much better than Obamacare, much less money. But she won't improve private insurance for people, private medical insurance. That's another thing she doesn't want to get. People are paying privately for insurance that have worked hard and made money, and they want to have private. She wants everybody to be on government insurance where you wait 6 months for an operation that you need immediately.
President Trump, thank you. We have another issue that we'd like to get to that's important for a number of Americans, in particular younger voters, and that's climate change. President Trump, with regard to the environment, you say that we have to have clean air and clean water. Vice President Harris, you call climate change an existential threat. The question to you both tonight is, what would you do to fight climate change? And Vice President Harris, we'll start with you. 1 minute for you each.
Well, the former president had said that climate change is a hoax. And what we know is that it is very real. You ask anyone who lives in a state who has experienced these extreme weather occurrences, who now is either being denied home insurance or it's being jacked up. You ask anybody who has been the victim of what that means in terms of losing their home, having nowhere to go. We know that we can actually deal with this issue. The young people of America care deeply about this issue. And I am proud that as vice president over the last 4 years, we have invested $1 trillion in a clean energy economy, while we have also increased domestic gas production to historic levels. We have created over 800,000 new manufacturing jobs while I have been vice president. We have invested in clean energy to the point that we are opening up factories around the world. Donald Trump said he was going to create manufacturing jobs. He lost manufacturing jobs. And I'm also proud to have the endorsement of the United Auto Workers and Sean Fain, who also know that part of building a clean energy economy includes investing in American-made products, American automobiles. It includes growing what we can do around American manufacturing and opening up auto plants, not closing them like happened under Donald Trump.
Vice President Harris, thank you.
That didn't happen under Donald Trump. Let me just tell you, they lost 10,000 manufacturing jobs this last month. They're all leaving. They're building big auto plants in Mexico, in many cases owned by China. They're building these massive plants, and they think they're going to sell their cars into the United States because of these people. What they have given to China is unbelievable, but we're not going to let that. We'll put tariffs on those cars so they can't come into our country, because they will kill the United Auto Workers and any auto worker, whether it's in Detroit or South Carolina or any other place. What they've done to business and manufacturing in this country is horrible. We have nothing because they refuse. You know, Biden doesn't go after people because supposedly China paid him millions of dollars. He's afraid to do it. Between him and his son, they get all this money from Ukraine. They get all this money from all of these different countries. And then you wonder, why is he so loyal to this one, that one, Ukraine, China? Why is he? Why did he get $3.5 million from the mayor of Moscow's wife? Why did she pay him $3.5 million? This is a crooked administration, and they're selling our country down the tubes.
President Trump, thank you.
Thank you.
We'll be right back with closing statements from both of our candidates. An historic night, this ABC News presidential debate from Philadelphia. Back in a moment.
All right. We back, man. What's going down? What's going down? Hold on, let me mute it up, man. My bad. Let's get it. Let me mute it up. We'll be back in a minute. Make sure y'all tapped in. We outside with it. Who all up in here? Hey, Studio 56 podcast. Y'all make sure y'all get up over there and subscribe. We on a real quick intermission. Go get your water, your drink, whatever you do. Get your smoke rolled up. We live Tuesday night, H-Town, Texas. Live at the presidential debate. Hey, y'all, we actually had a watch party out here tonight. We had a watch party out here tonight in the city. But I want to come stream and make sure I had it on my platform and document it for the historical things and the documentation so everybody can get the facts. I want to make sure I'm doing my job as a media personality and a broadcaster to get y'all what's going on in the world. The platform is called Urban Politicians. We not into that type of politics because these niggas be lying. But we'll speak the facts. We'll come give you the facts. But y'all know we politic a little bit different over here. We gonna politic and fellowship and spill the real. A lot of stuff to break down, man. You gotta really go through these policies, man. You gotta really go through these policies. Really see what's going on. Really see what's been done. What's been done. I will say this: the country's in bad shape. Shout out my nigga B-Lo in the building. The country is in bad shape. You know what I'm saying? And I say that financially. You know, it's high right now. Things are costly. Things are expensive. The lifestyle is expensive. Food is expensive. Grocery stores, rent, all of these things are outrageous right now. You know what I'm saying? I don't have the answers to what would get it back in place, but we do need to know that we have a problem. Now it's on y'all to decide who y'all want to believe. That's y'all choice. That's y'all right. If you're a taxpaying citizen in America, that is your right. But I say right now, these last 3.5 years after that pandemic, it's been bad. I see a lot of things online, and I'm not clicking into political news all the time. I catch some political stuff and I check it out. I'll watch the news a few times a week and see the main topics when it comes what's going on with the country and things of that nature. But I just haven't felt urgency to get us back rolling how we should be rolling. Am I wrong for saying that? Y'all let me know. We on a quick intermission right now. Do y'all feel like we've had urgency? Let's just say the last 2 years, there's been a sense of urgency and we need to get everything back rolling and where we were and the inflation being addressed, because it feels like it's just this what it is. Get used to it. I'm saying, I mean, just tell me what y'all think in the chat and we will be right back. We waiting on them. We just taking a quick intermission. I don't want nobody just, tell me I'm right because I'm speaking. I really want to, I'm just, I'm just asking. I'm asking y'all, how do y'all feel? I want y'all opinions on it because I don't want to just be da-da-da. I want y'all to speak y'all how y'all feel about it, because I just feel like everything is getting higher. I feel like everything is expensive as shit. Everything is steady going up. Interest rates are through the roof. These are things that people need to survive in this country, bro. The cost of living is outrageous. And, you talk to 10 different people, they'll have 10 different breakdowns on the money getting sent to other countries. Oh, we back. We back. We back. We back. We'll come back after this and do another summary following. These are the closing.
So I think you've heard tonight two very different visions for our country. One that is focused on the future and the other that is focused on the past and an attempt to take us backward. But we're not going back. And I do believe that the American people know we all have so much more in common than what separates us. And we can chart a new way forward. And a vision of that includes having a plan, understanding the aspirations, the dreams, the hopes, the ambition of the American people, which is why I intend to create an opportunity economy, investing in small businesses, in new families, in what we can do around protecting seniors, what we can do that is about giving hardworking folks a break and bringing down the cost of living. I believe in what we can do together that is about sustaining America's standing in the world and ensuring that we have the respect that we so rightly deserve, including respecting our military and ensuring we have the most lethal fighting force in the world. I will be a president that will protect our fundamental rights and freedoms, including the right of a woman to make decisions about her own body and not have her government tell her what to do. I'll tell you, I started my career as a prosecutor. I was a DA, I was an attorney general, a United States senator, and now vice president. I've only had one client, the people. And I'll tell you, as a prosecutor, I never asked a victim or a witness, are you a Republican or a Democrat? The only thing I ever ask them, are you okay? And that's the kind of president we need right now. Someone who cares about you and is not putting themselves first. I intend to be a president for all Americans and focus on what we can do over the next 10 and 20 years to build back up our country by investing right now in you, the American people.
Vice President Harris, thank you. President Trump?
So she just started by saying she's going to do this, she's going to do that, she's going to do all these wonderful things. Why hasn't she done it? She's been there for 3.5 years. They've had 3.5 years to fix the border. They've had 3.5 years to create jobs and all the things we talked about. Why hasn't she done it? She should leave right now, go down to that beautiful White House, go to the Capitol, get everyone together and do the things you want to do, but you haven't done it and you won't do it because you believe in things that the American people don't believe in. You believe in things like we're not going to frack. We're not going to take fossil fuel. We're not going to do things that are going to make this country strong, whether you like it or not. Germany tried that, and within 1 year, they were back to building normal energy plants. We're not ready for it. We can't sacrifice our country for the sake of bad vision. But I just ask one simple question. Why didn't she do it? We're a failing nation. We're a nation that's in serious decline. We're being laughed at all over the world. All over the world, they're laughed. I know the leaders very well. They're coming to see me. They call me. We're laughed at all over the world. They don't understand what happened to us as a nation. We're not a leader. We don't have any idea what's going on. We have wars going on in the Middle East. We have wars going on with Russia and Ukraine. We're going to end up in a third world war, and it'll be a war like no other because of nuclear weapons, the power of weaponry. I rebuilt our entire military. She gave a lot of it away to the Taliban. She gave it to Afghanistan. What these people have done to our country, and maybe toughest of all, is allowing millions of people to come into our country. Many of them are criminals, and they're destroying our country. The worst president, the worst vice president in the history of our country.
President Trump, thank you. And that is our ABC News presidential debate from here in Philadelphia at the National Constitution Center. I'm Lindsay Davis.
And I'm David Muir. Thank you for watching here in the U.S. and all over the world, and from all of us here at ABC News. Good night. Causes of migration from Central America. We know that illegal border crossings
And his next.
All right, man. We got the debate right there. I tried to put up people comments in there, which I was saying and things like that. Let everybody get theirs off on either side. Some people saying Trump lying, some people saying Kamala lying. I'll just tell y'all this, go read the policies, man. Go read the policies that they actually got up. Trump made it entertaining tonight, I can say that. Trump was popping his stuff. But man, I just know this, bro. Me being in the country's not in a good spot. And you know, it's about parties as well, y'all. Like, we can look all day and you can see who you like more as a person. You could choose the race that you want to choose. You could choose the ethnicity you want to choose. You could choose the sex you want to choose, whether you want to do this because you want it to be a woman or you want this to be because it's a man. It's about the policies that they're going to have under their party. Of course, other things like the Senate, the House of Representatives, all these things come into play, Congress, yes, all that. But I just want people to not go symbolic. I want y'all to go do y'all research, bro. I want y'all to go read and look things up and get the real information as what has happened within these last 8 years, where we are in the last 2 years, and where we are right before the election, and make the decision that you think is going to help this country get into a better place. All the symbolic stuff, it's not it, man. It's not it. Get them real facts, man. Go get that real information. Go look up, do you think that these things are what's going to be best for the country? Go get informed. Go really get informed. It's your right to vote regardless. That's your right. If you pay taxes, that's most definitely your right. So you go get informed. Get the real information. If you've gotten the real information, then you choose who you want to vote for. Can't nobody shame you into voting. I don't care who this is. I don't care who nobody is. All of them niggas, your Uncle Luke's who doesn't know anything, who's a lost nigga. And I say that, Uncle Luke, because you even have a post on your Instagram page right now from a fake news report, bro. But can't nobody tell you nothing. I just watched you go off on Rizza Islam and you referencing Minister Farrakhan and Kamala, and then Minister Farrakhan's man, his guy, or somebody that is honorable and respectful. Rizza Islam is right hands on dealing with the NOI and Minister Farrakhan, and you didn't even take the time out to listen to the people, and you didn't even know who he was, but you turning up on him. And I'm like, well, bro, you not doing the real research to lead. We can't take advice from you. Plies promotes lies all day. He does that. We can't take information from y'all. We have to read our own, y'all. You have to read. You have to read. You have to get your own information. Do not look to these celebrities, these entertainers, and people that are in our community to make the decisions that are best for your life. They are human just like you. It's only in our community that we look at athletes and people that are financially successful or that are popular as they have our best interest, bro. They don't. They don't. Some of them niggas can't read. Some of them niggas don't know nothing. Some of them niggas have taken some form of payment or compensation to take the stance that they have taken. They have taken payment or they have chosen a side for some type of compensation or some type of gain, not for the policy. And that's what I want y'all to not fall for. Our entertainers are not our leaders in our community. They're not our role models. They're not our leaders. They are not the people that we're supposed to be following. What I do want to say is, in certain situations, some of them do fall in that category as well, where, hey, man, he's an entertainer, he's successful, he's intelligent, he's rich, he's popular, but he also is a leader. He is a leader. He's also has the information and he stands for the best interests of the community and our people. But not everybody. Do your real research. Don't fall for the trap, the propaganda, and the yellow journalism. You understand what I'm saying? They will tell you anything. They will say anything. We can go read the real information now. Why do y'all think they couldn't get us to get behind what they were trying to push with the war in Israel and Palestine? Because Google was our friend. No matter what's going on over there, condolences to the people that have been lost. But what they wanted us to follow, the narrative that they wanted us to push, the sides they wanted us to choose, oh no, we can go look up in Google now. It took us 5 minutes to read and realize, oh, nah, nigga, we ain't, hey, hold on, nigga. We gonna sit this one out. Because how y'all telling us to ride and who y'all want us to get behind, that ain't what we own. That ain't what we own. Nah, we ain't pushing for that. Oh, that's what happened? Oh, no. Nah, we not doing that. When you take compensation to push something that you don't believe in, when you take money, you take a tangible, you take a form of a payment or something that's beneficial specifically to you to push something that you haven't really researched, to push something that you really don't know about, to push something that is not 100% factual or something that you don't believe in to your people, and then go to the point where you will shame them like Luke, shame them like Plies. You will go shame them. That's called being a sellout. That's a sellout. We have no times for the sellouts. We have no times for the sellout, bro. I don't care who it is. I don't care how rich they are. The Democrats, and I'm not a Republican. Only reason I address the Democrats is because they automatically align Democrats with Black Americans, FBAs. They've aligned, hey, Democrats, that's your party because you Black. All I say is go read and get information and see if that's really your party. See if that's who you really want to ride with. They not doing nothing for specifically Black people. And I'm just talking to people that's Black. Doing something for everybody is not something for Black people. Stop falling for the word semantics. This is why I tell them to take the Black off of the conversation if you're not going to do something specifically for Black people. I got somebody finna join in, bro. I got somebody coming in for an interview in a second. So I'll probably be on here after that. We'll see. I got an interview coming in. Let me see what's going on right now. Let me see if he's here. We got somebody coming in. We got an interview today, and I'm waiting on him to join in. I want y'all to stay here for this interview. Listen to this as well. Want to promote this brother's book and everything that he got going on. I don't know if he's here yet. Yeah. I'm finna. Hold on, y'all. We got something coming. Hold on real quick, y'all. I want people to just use their own brain, man. I'm not going to tell y'all which way to vote, dog. That's y'all right. That's y'all choice. I'm not going to force y'all to vote. I'm only going to speak up. Okay, he's on here. Okay, got you. He's on here. Yeah. It's that link right there. It's that link right there. It's that link, Tori. It's in there. Let me drop another one for you. Grab this link right now that I just posted and then follow that. It should take you to the internet and things so we can figure it out. Hey, I'm doing an interview, bro, in a second, so you ain't gonna better come on, Elijah. I got an interview to do. Yeah, you know, I did hear, and see, that's me, y'all. That's me. I'm gonna keep it a band. I hear Kamala pushing we're all one, we're all united. Oh, this is for all of us. No, it's not, man. Why are we being divisive? Man, this country is built on divisiveness, man. Let's keep it a band. Let's keep this a band. Okay, bet. We finna get to it, y'all. We got an interview. I got a special guest on tonight, and we'll tap in some more. This is somebody that's a good storyline, pushing something positive. And I posted, Ben got this interview in, but we've been tied up and things like that. And I knew that some people would be here tonight, so I want to give him an opportunity to tell his story and speak. Shout out to my guy, Tori. He's here right now. Let me bring him on. Yo, what's going on, man?
Yo, what's up, my brother?
Let me see. Do we have an echo? Can y'all hear?
Yeah, I got a little echo.
You got an echo? Okay. What about now?
Speak like you're still talking, but you're not talking. Yeah.
Okay, you probably have to. They saying no echo. We good then. We good. Let me set the stage real quick. And everything like that. Let's bring your book up and things. But I want to introduce Tori and Tori Bush, man. You got an interesting thing that you did. You got the book, and you pushing something that's dope, and it's good to see somebody doing this in the, you and your people getting out here and making this happen. And you got a story. You dealing with dogs and things of that nature. So, introduce yourself to the people and everything like that. Tell them where you from and all that.
Yeah, I'm from Louisiana originally, man. Lafayette, Sunset, all that. Man, it's going bad. Give me a sec, because man, hold on, bro.
Okay, you might have to X out that YouTube, bro. If you still on YouTube, X the YouTube link out, but stay on the StreamYard.
Okay, cool.
Just X out the YouTube thing.
Okay, bet.
Let's see. I don't know. Do it sound like I was afraid he was gonna do that. I'm gonna drop another link for you. Just come back, man. Just come back to it. I'm about to drop another link for you. I'm gonna drop another link for you. We get him back in just a second. Just grab that new link. So who won, y'all? Who won? I don't know. Who y'all think won? Yeah, it might be the mic on that computer that ain't working good. But if not, we'll just have to do it in person. We'll set it up. We'll figure it out. Bro, I'm getting it together, Greg Bennett. If we can't get this done tonight, but I still want y'all to go to the website and check out the information in the book and everything like that. But we finna see. We finna try to work it out. If not, he probably can just go to the phone. I want to be clear with the setup, though. Go to the Instagram, Ultimate Guard Dogs Comic. Go support the Instagram, Ultimate Guard Dogs Comic. Let's see what's going on with it. Give him some time to get back rolling. Got some write-ups in the Chronicle and everything like that, man. Giving them a second to get back together. Let me go to the website. Okay. Hold on real quick, y'all. We finna get it together. Y'all turn us up, man. Turn us up. 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 Bet you gotta grab that link for me real quick, man. Hold on. Let me try to get you that link again. Hold on. Oh, I'm messing up now. Hold on. My bad, y'all. Be patient with your dog one time. Be patient with your dog. Be patient with your boy. Be patient with your boy. Be patient. Be patient. We got a lot more cooking to do tonight. We're going to go over some other things. All right, grab that link one more time, Tori. Grab that link one more time. See what's going on with it. We finna get it. We had to do the setup a little bit different tonight, y'all. Know we normally be in the parking lot, but we had to watch the stream. Y'all know in the parking lot, we be going crazy. I be on there acting a fool. But we had to come do it like this tonight because I wanted to make sure we could play and stop the stream and get the quality all the way right, things like that. Okay, let's see what's going on. We bringing them back. Tord.
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, we in the building. We good now, man.
Yeah, we all good now, man. I could, bruh. You know, I'm a
Yeah.
little behind in the times, homie. So
Nah, man. So it's all good. Let me introduce you to the people, man. You from Louisiana, you said Lafayette, right?
Yeah, well, really from exit 11, man, Sunset and Grand Coteau, bro. But you know, if I say that, ain't nobody gonna know. So I'm in between Opelousas and Lafayette. So every time I say where I'm from, I'm gonna say Lafayette.
Okay, got you. For sure, man. It's all good. Louisiana to Houston doing this thing, man. So you got a story that you coming out, you trying to get it out there to the people. You got you done worked with the Houston Chronicle before, did something with them. That's a big look. That's hard to do in the game when you getting anything going. You got your books out and things like that. Ultimate Guard Dog. So when you came up with this Ultimate Guard Dogs concept, what strictly was you basing this on?
Well, basically, I was on Briscoe unit, man, out here in Texas, and man, I'm a dog nerd, homie. I love dogs, bro. I've been breeding dogs and having dogs my whole life. You know what I'm saying? So I always like dogs, bro. And my thing is, a lot of people don't understand dogs. I train dogs. I breed dogs. Anybody that know me, even in the penitentiary, bro, I would watch the dog show in the penitentiary. Like, boy, want to watch the Super Bowl. I want to watch the dog show. You know what I'm saying? So I like dogs, and dogs are all uniquely bred for certain things. Just like I feel like everybody is uniquely made for something in this life. You know what I'm saying? So my thing was to, like, on the first book, I introduced a boxer who's a boxer. So this dog was bred to be a boxer. So he's gonna live up to his expectations. You know what I mean? But the cover of the book, I got dogs that have been banned over centuries. You know, all dogs aren't created equal. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, you see a golden retriever, you automatically think full house, or, you know, a good dog. You see a pit bull, you automatically thinking a gangster. You know what I'm saying? But if you've ever had these dogs, you know that it can be complete opposite. I done been bit by golden retrievers. You know what I'm saying?
Got you. I ain't never been bit by a dog, but I've been scared to. So your story is unique, man. Like you said, you've been into dogs and dealing with them, but this was something you had to go sit down and do some time for a little bit back in the day, and you was incarcerated for a while.
Yeah.
So with you going through that, well, first of all, do you mind saying why you were incarcerated?
Aggravated robbery with a deadly weapon, bro. I went in at 19 and came out when I was 29.
Yeah. 19 to 29. How much time did they give you?
They gave me 16 years.
Okay. And you had to serve 10 of that.
You know, you got to serve half of it, really. You serve 8. But, you know, you ain't going to make that first parole all the time. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Nah, man. So when you was in there this whole time going through that process, man, and was this like one of the dreams that you was having? Where like, hey, so you had the passion for dogs before you went to prison already?
Man, before I went to prison, I was with dogs, bro. When I was a little boy, I've been having dogs since I've been breeding dogs, like really breeding AKC registered dogs when I was 14 years old. You know what I'm saying? I've been breeding and liking dogs. I've been training dogs since that age. You know what I mean? But you know, prison, like you say, man, it really gave me that time to sit down and focus. You know what I'm saying? It gave me a little structure. It's crazy to say, but if I would have never got locked up, I'd have never had enough time. You know what I'm saying? In the streets, you ain't gonna have enough time to do nothing. You know, I could like to do something. I could draw. I've been drawing, but I just ain't never had enough time to really think it'll take me somewhere. You know what I'm saying? Because shit, it's just something I can do. I gotta get out here. You know what I'm saying? I'm out here wilding anyway.
Got you. So, you know, coming up in Louisiana, it's one of them places, man. A lot of people don't know. I call Louisiana, Mississippi, and Alabama the three main Bible Belt states. Now, the whole South is Bible Belt states, but Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, them like the worst ones because it kind of feel like certain parts, especially like in the little towns, a nigga still back in the old slavery days. When you came up at, did it have that kind of energy and vibe almost?
Man, everywhere, bro. Like I grew up Catholic, bro, so it was like going to church every Sunday, catechism. You know what I'm saying? We was raised in the church every day. Anything that happened was gonna be on the church ground. It's gonna have the bazaar. You know what I'm saying? Things like that, and everything still go on at the church ground. It don't matter if it's the church ground. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So with you coming up out there in Louisiana, then coming out here to Houston, what would you say was the biggest difference for you early on, just making the transition?
Man, it was the size. You know what I'm saying? Like coming from Louisiana in a small, concentrated, everybody know everybody. So if you out there, you doing something, somebody gonna know what you're doing. You know what I'm saying? But in Houston, man, you can go on the south side and you won't never see a nigga from the north side, never. You know what I'm saying? Or you go on the north side. So it was just a lot of space to do what you was doing in a smaller space. You know what I'm saying? So I can do something over here and go on the other side of town, don't even worry about it no more. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it was just like the big thing, and it was everything is accessible. You know what I'm saying? It was no such thing as no drought. You know what I'm saying? Like anywhere you wanted, somebody got it on this side. And I didn't, you know, like when I came to Houston, it was the south side versus north side thing. And I had no clue about that. I got family, like I got a lot of family live out here in Houston. I got family in Missouri City. I got family in Senegal and Homestead and things like that. I got family like everywhere. So I didn't have that kind of like beef type thing. I'm going to my cousin's house and my cousin is going to be involved. You know what I'm saying?
Got you. So I say this, man, you know, with you going through your time in your situation like that, what would you say was the biggest learning experience you had during those 10 years in prison? Because a lot of people, they in there, they don't really have a plan. You know, I've met people who, well, I know people or know people that know people that had to do a lot of time as well, and they came home with the same mentality, man. I want you to give them some advice to where they can get into something or just how they need to be programming, because some of them might see this, they get phones or people in the future who think they want to learn the hard way. What would you tell them mentally? First, we're going to say avoid it if it's looking like this ain't going to work in your favor. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But what would you say what was preparing you, like you say you was moving so fast in the streets? What was the things that was keeping you focused the whole time while doing this time to jump out there and do this?
Man, to do better than what I was doing before, man. It's like this, bro. If you fail to plan, you plan to fail. You know, you gotta have a purpose in your life. Like is proper preparation prevents piss poor performance. So if you want to do something, homie, you got to really go in and focus on what you're doing. You can't say you want to do this and then you don't do none of the work for it to happen. You know what I'm saying? Like what put life into perspective for me is when I was in prison, I found out that I got just me. I didn't get commissary. I didn't get letters. I didn't have nobody come and see me. I found out that nigga, if you don't get out here and hustle, ain't nobody giving you nothing, bro. They're gonna give you cot, 3 hots and a cot, man. They're gonna give you something to eat that you probably ain't gonna want to eat. You know, nigga going to the window, coming back, their parents bringing them that, but I ain't had that. I had to sit back. I had to learn how to cut hair. I'm drawing. I'm sending portraits to people you know, I had a good thing that God blessed me with the, you know, the ability to draw. But trust me, bro, I wasn't as good as I am now. Something you do every day, you get better at it. I don't care if it's lying, homie. If you lie every day, guess what? You're gonna get better at lying. You're just gonna be a good ass liar. That's what you do every day. So whatever you do, I don't care what it is. You know, you can play hopscotch all day. If you play hopscotch every day, you're gonna be a bad hopscotch playing something, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But it's just like, if you want to do something, man, you got to be serious about it. And nobody can be serious about something than you. So nobody can want to do better for you than you. So I can't blame my mama or my daddy or whoever because I ain't became nothing in my life. You know what I'm saying? That's my fault. I did that. I take your lick, you know what I'm saying, get your plan, stand on your shit, and do it. Believe in yourself before anybody else can believe in you. You got to believe in yourself, man. Don't let another nigga put a key in your back and tell you, you know, this what it is to be hard. Look, I done went down that road, turned around, went down another road, turned around, went around, you know what I'm saying? Because when I got out of jail, niggas was in the same position they was in when I went to jail. And niggas, guess what? After the situation, I moved and got all this going on, guess what? Them same niggas doing the same thing. And ain't nothing I can tell them. I can't want it more for you than you want it for yourself. But I can only show you and motivate you. I can tell you, but I can't make you do nothing, man. You know what I'm saying? I can just show you this is what happens whenever you put and implement a plan and stay on it and focus on it, and it'll go into trajectory and go further than you can even think. I done never thought I would have been on the news other than my lineup. I had a whole segment on Channel 2 out here in Houston. For 15 minutes, the people came to my house. I never would have thought that, bro.
Nah. That's big right there. That's why I was telling him, like, bro, for you to make it onto the news for what you got going on, your business, the ultimateguarddogs.com. Y'all get with them. Give them your Instagram too. Ultimate Guard Dogs.
Guard Dogs Comic is on Facebook. Ultimate Guard Dogs Comic is on TikTok. Blowing, man, it's going crazy on TikTok, man. We got a video did 1.2 million. You know what I'm saying? It's something that ain't like what I'm doing, bro. Is like every dog has a backstory, bro. Every dog has, you know, a purpose in life. It was bred to do certain things. You know what I'm saying? So I focus in on these dog stories and backstories. You know what I mean? It's like, so I'm a dog trainer and a behaviorist. So dogs do certain things that humans don't really understand. And you try to make your dog do, like, I'll be watching these videos and they'll be like, man, I want my dog to do this. But this is, let's say if you have a Australian Shepherd, it's a herding dog. You got to know what this dog was bred for. It's bred to herd. It's bred to bark. It's bred to be active. So if you want that type of dog, you need to be an active person. If you want a dog that chill and you want to sit back, just have your pet, then you go get you a lazy dog. Like you go get you a basset hound or a bulldog, something that is not high energy, but you have to go in and focus on, you know what you're getting. You know what I'm saying? And that's what I do. I'm a dog enthusiast, so I want to use this to, you know, tell a coolest story, man. But I'm using like my life, my certain things I've done, the urban thing, like basically like this shirt is the H-Town Hounds. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's pit bulls, Dobermans, Rottweiler dogs that get bad reputations. I want people to understand why they act like this and why certain people get put in a box. You know what I'm saying? So I want to make the people that normally get put in a box, I want them to be the superheroes for once. You know what I'm saying?
Got you. So after you got released, man, what was the did you get right to it, or was it like you had to figure it out? What obstacles was you going through to get this stuff rolling with your books and everything like that?
Yeah, I never stopped, bro. I had a whole bunch of hurdles, stumbling blocks, but every day, bro, I worked on this book a little bit and a little bit, some days more than others. But I came, you know, I had it in the binder. I still got it in the binder. You know, I got the original stuff from the penitentiary with commissary people. You know what I'm saying? I got this, been holding on to this for years and just never gave up on it. You know, you put it on a back burner. Really didn't know how to do a lot of stuff. I had to teach myself how to use Photoshop. I had to teach myself how to, you know, use Canva and certain things like this internet thing. I had to learn how to do all this all over. You know, when I left, man, they had flip phones, homie. And when I came back, man, you could FaceTime now, man. That was something I could have never imagined.
Nah, I can feel. Hey, nah, that's how it be. I think too, like just seeing people, man. You in the way the world move now, like, bro, they ain't have Apple Pay 5 years ago, to my knowledge, for real, where you could just go in the store and pay with your cell phone. Just open up your wallet and tap your cell phone. Like, it's always something new that just come and getting invented that's taking over the world. So, nah, that's a major readjustment for 10 years and having to go to the internet and go grind and, like you say, graphic design and things like that. Cause I can't graphic design now myself.
And bro, look, I'm used to drawing with a pencil, and I even hired a graphic designer, bro. And they told me, man, how did you draw that? You do traditional art. I'm like, traditional art, man, that's just regular art. But now that's what they call it, home. They call it tradition. If you use your hands to draw something, man, you traditional, bro. That's crazy. Blew my mind.
Yeah. So getting the book, you know, the comic books and things like that off the ground and everything to get it out there was because a lot of people, even with me doing YouTube in the beginning, man, a lot of people, I've been through it, was like people look at you like you're crazy. People looking at you like you're wasting your time. I don't know how it worked behind the wall, but you could talk about behind the wall and when you touch down. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, bet. So whenever I come up with the idea, man, I'm in the I'm in the penitentiary, bro, and I got a partner, man, Doe, and we talked about dogs every day. You know, that was our thing, bro. We read dog books and learn about dogs, man, because dogs, bro. I read a Forbes magazine, and this when Obama was in office, and they had the recession or whatever, and the #1 business that made the most money out of everything in the world was dogs. I ain't talking about pets. I'm talking about dogs. People selling dogs, people going to dog resorts, dog food, and things like this. Man, dog was #1. So I'm like, man, I already like dogs. So what can I do in this space? How can I innovate in this space that's different from everybody else? You know what I mean? You got dog trainers. I know how to train dogs. You got dog breeders. Everybody want to be a dog breeder. You know what I mean? I've been breeding dogs since I was 14. And when I started breeding American bullies, man, that's the most. I've met so many more dog breeders in this world, bro. It's crazy. Just, but people that really don't know what they're doing, they think they dog breeding, man, and they just trying to get the bag, man.
Well, the bag is out there with it, though. This dog breeding, man, it's people. I'm seeing people, they doing $100,000 and things of that nature going crazy. I done been to like a dog show or two. You know what I mean? They got the dog shows, and it'll be a little bit of everything going on there. So I know it's a world in the lane. It's was a whole world kind of getting more popularized a couple years ago, but I know it ain't went nowhere. You know what I mean? It just kind of fell back a little bit from the main discussion. But now them dogs, and my boy, he been in them dogs, man. He keep a dog, but he used to be into a more going to shows and things like 08. Like 2008, I had a homie that was into it real heavy. You know what I mean? But it's just a world of people who into it and stuff. But I like to tell people myself, like even you, that and you already got the right mindset just hearing what you're saying. No matter what you got going on, bro, you got to wake up every day and go for it. And you got to know that it's going to depend on you. And you got to be dedicated to it, no matter if you behind the wall, no matter if you free, and you got to really do your own research and homework. So I ask you this, what was one thing that you found out about the business in this thing that you probably didn't know once you got active in it?
Man, the business about the publishing companies, bro, is that, man, that middleman, he gonna eat up everything, man. Big fish always gonna eat little fish, man. So when you coming in here, man, they see you got an idea, man. I had a predatory email, because I looked at it and I was like, man, I can't believe these people offer me this amount of money for my book. Somebody saw my book, sent me an email, offered me $250,000 for my idea. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, man, I'm gonna jump on that. But whole time, bro, I'm they scamming, bro. They're gonna take my stuff and slide me out the way. You know, I got my stuff on a platform like, and it's on Amazon, it's on all this other stuff. But if you buy it on Amazon or YouTube or Barnes and Nobles, is at Walmart and all that, I only get 10% of that. You know what I'm saying? They're gonna sell my book and I'm gonna get a port 10%. Not you know, I came up with everything and they get all of it. They get 90% of profit and I get 10%. So independently, I go and do it myself. I get it printed and I do everything, and I go to my website so I can at least see a little profit. You know what I mean? So that's
facts. And that's what was it? Okay. Now I was gonna say that's the game. Even with me being on YouTube right now, they pay ads to the videos. It's ads on these videos that they get paid for. I don't know what the ads are. I don't know how much they getting paid. They sending me a cut every month. They telling me it's 60-40, but how do I know? You know what I mean?
Right.
It's just like a record deal, y'all. The artists, some of them artists used to get paid 10 cents a CD.
Man, for real.
Like, it's the same thing that y'all don't distribute. Like, you be the last one to get your money. This is why I be telling y'all when we had this $1 million conversation recently, when Dame Dash was like $1 million as a rapper is not a lot of money. And, you know, he exaggerated just a little bit on some of the expenses, but first off, taxes is taking $500K.
Right quick.
You know what I'm saying? They taking $500K. Then he say you got to buy a house. At that time, that was $100,000 for a good house. You know what I'm saying? So now you're already down to $400. You know what I mean? So it's like the money just moves so fast. You got to be innovative and find different ways to try to create money. Merch, other things, pop-ups, and like you say, go to the website so you can bring in a larger portion of the slice, because you trying to put it on Barnes and Nobles and put your products on these websites at Walmart, but they only penny pinching to you, but it's still your product.
Still mine, you know what I'm saying? And they look, I'm talking about long handle spoon to me, man. Got me bad, you know what I'm saying? Bird feeding, but it's all a part of it. It was a learning lesson, you know what I mean? You know, you're talking about behind the wall, man. I would wake up every day doing this book, man. I'd be in a day room drawing this, you know what I'm saying? I had other partners that are coming. It'll get to being fun because we running it, telling the story about what I should do next, what I should draw now, you know what I'm saying? And I'm drawing it as I go, you know. People watching me like, man, I had a seller, just one of my old sellers, man. He was one of my characters is actually modeled after him, you know what I'm saying? He was with the Tango Blast. He's a Chihuahua, you know what I'm saying? His name's Spooks. But yeah, it's gonna be man, look, it's gonna be something serious, man. I got more books and more content that you can ever think of. This first book is basically like a chapter in a vast world. I got a universe that's unmeasured, but the thing is, I never stopped. Every day I woke up and I did this. Every night I went to sleep thinking about how I'm gonna make $1 million doing this here. You know, it didn't come and still ain't $1 million yet, but the vision is just starting. You know what I'm saying? You got to start. The first step is the hardest step. And once you start stepping though, man, it get easier and easier, man. You start breathing it. So now I can get on here and talk very openly about anything you can ask me about, because, you know, this is what I do. It's you know, it's second nature to me. So you know, it's like missing me. Only way you're going to miss me with a question, homie, is about duck. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's about dogs. You know what I'm saying?
Got you. Now, people got to stick with it. Y'all make sure that y'all is listen to what he's saying, because this apply not just to writing a comic book like him, getting your book in the stores. It's going to be lessons being learned. Like he say, he didn't hide that he didn't took L's. And I knew that he had a journey with this, with everything he been through and getting it there, because I've heard from people that wrote books before, like, man, because I know a dude with a dog stole myself. You know what I'm saying? He got a pet shop and everything, and he didn't broke it down, and we didn't work before, and he just told me different stuff. So I know that this be a real journey, man. So I just be wanting people to know and understand, and it's the ultimate guard dogs, man. Let me bring up the Instagram real quick.
Yeah.
And y'all go check them out. Go support it on Instagram. Oh, they trying to make me log back in. What in the world? Hold on. Hold on real quick, y'all. I should already be logged in on IG. Hold on. Hold on real quick. We finna get to it. Ooh. I forgot my password. Hold on. Hold on. We finna get it. We finna bring it up. Hold on. Y'all be patient with your boy one time. We gonna sit down and get an official interview as well eventually. But I did want to get you on here for the night.
I sure appreciate it too, bro. I really appreciate the opportunity. For real.
Nah, for sure. I appreciate you coming through.
Yeah. I also do like portraits too, bro. Like I don't just do I had my bro, I had a whole art museum. I had my art in an art museum in Lake Charles at the Black Heritage Museum for 2 months, bro. Hung up in an art museum. Things that I drew in prison. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, okay. That's live.
Yeah, bro. I did like if you like the Ghetto Boys, I did this. You know what I'm saying?
Hold on real quick. Hold on. Trying to do this.
Yeah.
My keyboard I got a different type of keyboard on here. I be going through it with this motherfucker. Hold on.
It's all good.
There you go. Hold on. There you go. I think I got it. If this the password I need. Hold on. They gotta send me a code again because I'm getting on IG on the computer.
Yeah.
The way they don't text me the code. Today. Hold on. Let me go back on here with y'all real quick. I'll wait till that code come through. Show me what it was again. Let me see it. You had it?
This
Oh, that's live. Okay.
Yes, Screw, Zero, Trey, Pimp C, Bun B, the old Slim Thug when he had them braids.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I damn near got that picture on the back of the wall. Well, it was around that time. That was probably like 07 type shit.
Yeah.
07 type picture, yeah.
Yeah,
nah, for sure. Man, they not sending me the password. I'm trying to show them your Instagram page on here real quick.
Oh yeah, look, I do realistic portraits too. A dog, bro.
Okay. Nah, that's live, man. Give them the
too,
Instagram again where they can tap in with you at Ultimate Guard Dogs.
Yeah, Ultimate Guard Dogs with a Z comic. And then you my personal one is Tory Bush on Instagram. You can see me on mine training the dogs and stuff. Like I train any and every breed of dog, man. Aggressive dogs, little dogs, whatever it is, I can do it all, man. I got a certification in dog language. Like I speak dog real talk.
Yeah. Oh, they got me on WhatsApp. What do they got me on WhatsApp for? I don't even got WhatsApp.
Nah, me neither.
Jesus, man. And they was asking me some bullshit recently. They tried to force me to do for a backup thing. Hold on. Hold on. I might get it. Hold on, I think I got it now. I'm going to see if they'll send into this instead. There we go. Hold on. Hold on. We got it, y'all. My bad. They tried to force me on this WhatsApp shit. I'm not trying to get on there. I had to reset a password recently or something. Bet, there we go. Let me get to the page. My bad.
Oh, it's all good.
My bad. Oh Jesus, hold on. This Instagram be different on here. Hold on, I'm finna bring it on the screen, y'all. We finna get it.
Do you waste time building the work schedule every week? Do employees ever message
Hold
you?
on. Get us together, man. What the hell really going on? Why I can't find my DMs? Hold on, shit. Bet. We bringing it on, y'all. Hold on real quick. I think you might have to stop screen, stop fam, invite. Call shit. Deportation. What the hell really going on? Hold on. Okay, remove that. Stop screen. We finna bring it on. There we go. Now we got some this the Instagram right here, y'all.
Yeah, that's it there.
Check out some of the stuff on here.
Yeah, man, that was at the only black-owned comic book store in Texas, man. Gulf Coast Cosmos, right there in Third Ward, bro. Yeah, go check it out. Nah, this is a store. It's right here on Emancipation, man. It ain't no pop-up. It's the only black-owned. That's where I had my event at, man. I had a book signing there.
Okay,
it's real official over there, man.
Got you. That's
in
dope.
the heart of Third Ward, man, on Emancipation, bro.
Got you. They got like a museum over there too, huh?
Yeah.
Like before Emancipation, like closer to the. I can't remember exactly where I went though. My auntie had a book and she had a book signing up there. I pulled up over there.
The bookstore right next door to it. Matter of fact.
Nah, that's what's up, man. That's what's up. Now y'all got to tap into it. Ultimate Guard Dogs with a Z. Ultimate Guard Dogs with a Z comic. Go tap into it and get familiar. Go support it. Everybody that's into, things of that nature. Let me see what else we got here. So you drew all this, the cover and everything like that?
I drew every single thing in there, man. I drew it. I digitally done it. I colored I did everything myself. Yeah, I did everything, homie. Everything. And a lot of these pictures, I drew this in the penitentiary. I drew that in a day room or in a cell somewhere. You know what I mean? Just visions in my own mind, just putting them on paper and telling a story. You know what I mean? I told you he was a boxer. That's a boxer. You know what I mean?
Got you. Nah, that's live, man, to bring that to life and then make it happen in the real world, man. That's congratulations on it and sticking with it and figuring it out, man. Sometimes just really, accomplishing your dream. It don't even matter how many people it reach or don't reach, just getting that done. Just bring another value and excitement to life every day that you got that going on, bro. Like with me, you carry it. It's like with your journey. It's like, you know what I'm saying? It's like that, man. I wake up every day. I'm proud to have this going on type of thing. You know what I mean?
Right. And I want to see where else it's going to take me. Like I got book 2 almost done. I'm finna have book, like I got book 20 already written. You know what I mean? I'm talking about drawing them and getting them done. I got book 2 almost done. I have that one done in a few more months. You know what I mean? And then I got book 3, 4, 5. Like I'm just trying to flood because it's like I got a universe, real talk, bro. Like I got it so thick and written out so long, man. It's like, and I got so many ideas for not just merchandise as far as shirts and hats and things. Like I'm talking about action figures, bro. I want to do dog toys. I don't want to just have this book sold at comic book stores because I want to tell a story about these dogs. Like you can read a dog book, man, and it'll tell you the qualities of a dog. So if you buy a dog, it's got a certain quality. It's bred for a specific purpose, right? So if you don't know what this dog is bred for, you won't really understand the animal you got. So I'm gonna use my book to really give you some insights and tell a story about these animals and why they act the way they act, and just tell it from a different angle, make it more from a human perspective. Like if you were a dog, what kind of dog would you be? You know what I'm saying? If you look in the mirror and be like, man, I think I'm a Cane Corso today. You know what I mean? Or I'm gonna give a real fact about these dogs, and it'll be like, you know what I mean? I really think I should be this kind of dog. I think if I was a dog, I would be this dog. I've been watching a debate lately about people like which dog can say the N word. Well, this book here let you know who can say it and who can't. You know what I'm saying? And that's how I'm doing it. Like,
for real, bringing that real character to him type thing.
yeah.
So now, so you said you got book 2 coming in a couple months?
Yes, sir.
Okay, that'll work. Hey, you know what? Then we'll sit down when big book 2 drop and do one. We'll sit down and do official in-person interview when book 2 drops.
Yeah,
that'll be dope. That'll be a good look right there. That'll be something to talk about for the second one, because I'm trying to get my interviews back rolling myself and get them back on board. But that'll be good. The people that's here tonight, the supporters of my platform, I want y'all to go over there and go follow this Instagram. You know what I'm saying? Tap in everything he got going, and make sure y'all listen. Just in tune, because he gonna be back on the channel again. Ultimate Guard Dogs coming. Ultimate Guard Dogs coming. Go up over there. Real story.
And I've been checking out the comments, man. It got somebody like they like game dogs, man. And look, I grew up with game dogs. I'm from Louisiana, bro. We've been having our chickens fight. You hear me? Whenever I left Louisiana, chicken fighting was legal. We used to go to the chicken derby and watch that on a Friday night. You know what I'm saying? So everything I know all about the game, home. I like game dogs, game chickens, game things. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like for me, I've seen dogs be in their worst, in their element. You know what I mean? Like a hound dog was bred to smell and find a smell. You know what I'm saying? That's why their ears are long. So whenever their ears hit the grass, it make the smell come in their nose. Like that's something that was bred into them. And like a puppy could be 4 weeks old, just learning how to walk. But if it was bred to be a hunting dog, it's gonna hunt automatically. I ain't gotta show it nothing. If it was bred to be a game dog, I ain't got to show it nothing. It's gonna scratch. I ain't got to do nothing, because it's breeding. This was put into the dog. If it's a guard dog, like if you see a Rottweiler from a puppy, is embedded in them. When they wake up in the morning as a puppy and they 4 weeks old, if somebody come to the house, they're gonna bark and try to bite you, because it's in their DNA. You know what I'm saying? Certain people, we got things in our DNA that we don't really understand why we do things, why we do it. But this is kind of how I'm trying to do it and explain certain things within just human nature, dog nature as well. You know, like we all are wired differently. You know what I mean? Like I watch the presidential debate. You know what I'm saying? And it's always gonna be different.
Yeah, for sure about that.
It ain't gonna never be. We different for a reason, and that's why I'm trying to do it. Like you got to learn how to coexist. You know what I'm saying? We can't just expect this from this person. Is this person, man? He already showed you who he gonna be, or she already showed you who she gonna be. So you either gonna accept it, learn how to maneuver around it, or don't even mess with them at all. You know what I'm saying?
I feel you. You ain't lying. You speaking the real, man. I didn't know that though. That's new to me, the way they come out at birth. You know what I'm saying? I just learned.
You ain't got to teach a dog nothing, man. Basically, like they got like a wolf. You ain't got to teach a wolf how to howl or hunt. They do that. They just know how to do it innately. You know what I'm saying? Like a cow, it moves. You don't have to teach it how to move. It just know how to do it. You know
I'm not a dog. I ain't really no dog person at all. You know, I got homies that deal with them and stuff, but I ain't never really just been a dog person or nothing like that at all. But nah, man, it's we learning something for the people that don't know. You know what I mean?
Man, they some amazing animals, man, and these are the only animals in the world, bro, that'll do anything for a human being and come look for a human being and be everything you want them to be. And if they don't know how to do it, they're gonna try their best to do it. Like a dog don't know English, it don't know how to speak, but it'll learn what you saying. I go outside and tell my dog to sit down. It can't tell me nothing back, but it'll show put his booty on the ground. You know what I'm saying? Just to please you. So that's what I learned about dogs is a loyalty. Dog. I'm a loyal person. I'm a loyal to a fault. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes I'll ride with somebody and I know you're wrong. You know what I'm saying? I ride with you, homie. But then it's just how we. This I'm like a dog, bro.
Yeah.
And that's what I want to show too. Like like you got to learn how to be loyal sometime, man, and really understand who you're being loyal to, because sometimes you can be loyal to somebody and man, they won't show that same loyalty to you. So
not at all. You ain't lying about that.
I done been there, man. Yeah, man.
But now we gonna get back up for sure, man. When the next book drop, everybody that rock with me, man, make sure y'all go follow the Ultimate Guard Dogs comic on Instagram with a G. Make sure you put, with a Z. With a Z on there. Support Tory, what he got going on. The books is out. You know what I mean? What would you rather them go to your website and grab it?
Yes, please, man. Go to my website or the TikTok shop or wherever. If you got TikTok, go to TikTok shop, or if you got the website, I would rather it be there because, man, that's the only way I'm gonna see some money. If you get it from anywhere else, man, I'm gonna probably get a nickel, probably a wooden nickel.
Give them everything one time. Where to go search everything at?
Okay, I'm on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, all on Ultimate Guard Dogs comic. Ultimate Guard Dogs with the Z. UltimateGuardDogs.com with the Z. Dogs with the Z.
Same across every site. Then we kept it simple. Ultimate Guard Dogs comics with a Z. Go on every site, support it, tap into it. We're gonna have some more coming up in the future, y'all. We appreciate you joining on, Tory. Great, amazing story. We're gonna get deep into it in person on the camera and everything. We'll be able to put something together good in the future, y'all. So be ready for that, man. Appreciate you coming on, bro. We got a little bit more things we're gonna cover tonight. And this will be up and things like that. Y'all get with them, man, for sure.
All good, my brother. I sure appreciate it.
Appreciate you coming on, man.
All good, man.
100.
100.
All right. Shout out to my guy Tory for joining in, man. Great, amazing story, dude. Like coming from doing, growing up in Louisiana, coming to Houston, doing 10 years, standing firm. He told y'all the process, and that's what we gonna tap into more on the interview in person. That obstacle, because that's what people be wanting to hear. Like, dang, man, they charging me this, man. They charging you that. Man, the middleman, they only get, we talk about that all the time on the channel, man. 10%. Damn, they hurling me. That's how this game be going, man. That's how this game be going. That's how this game be going, man. Shout out to Tory, though, for holding it down and really standing firm and pushing it, man. This shit ain't easy. Got to be a soldier out there. Got to be a soldier out there. Got to be a soldier out there, man. Give Tory a big congratulations for making that happen and getting it published, getting it in the books, getting it on TikTok, getting the website, interviewing Houston Chronicle, in the store out here, comic book, black owned, man. That's live. That's for sure live. All right, y'all. Y'all turn us up for the people that still here. What we got going? Did anybody want to speak on anything specific, man? Everybody give Tory a big shout out for sure, man. For sure, man. Shout out to Tory. Let's see what else is going on the internet for a little bit. We'll tap in a little bit more. What y'all think about the debate tonight, man? What y'all think about the debate tonight? Let's go look at some random stuff on Instagram. 5015 say what y'all thought about the debate. 5015 had the watch party. Man, I don't need to see that, bro. They got rich homie coin and incident report. That's crazy. Hey, bro, this nigga Maul is crazy, dog. OVO Maul is crazy. Did y'all see what Maul said today? Maul was like, yeah, man, Drake turned down the Super Bowl 4 times. I don't know why. He turned it down 4 times, though. And I'm like, so what does that mean? What does that mean he turned down the Super Bowl 4 times? Let's see what else going down today, y'all. Trying to see what else we can tap into. Are y'all over the Jay-Z and Lil Wayne conversation? You might say Kamala need to go back to what you call it. And what's the deal? What's the deal? Kamala need to go back to the drawing board. Y'all niggas crazy. Was a cool debate tonight, huh? It was a cool debate tonight, huh? What y'all thought about the debate overall? What y'all think about the debate overall, man? Y'all thought it was worth it? Y'all thought it was that? They got RZA Islam on Corey Holcomb's show tonight. That should be interesting. Shout out to RZA Islam. Shout out to Corey Holcomb. Yeah. You know, it's some real stuff. I just want everybody to go read, bro. Like, don't be listening to what people be telling you, bro. Go find that information out on your own, man. That's what this is about, bro. This stuff is about finding information on your own, bro. Getting yourself prepared, getting the things you need, man. Let's look at the analysts of
as a small
the
business
election.
owner, you carry a lot of weight on your shoulders.
Let's watch
That's
the
why you need to
analysts
get your
real
business
quick,
covered
y'all.
with
Let's see what
Next
they had to
Insurance.
say.
Saving you time,
Shout out
money,
to my boy
a lot of-
Tori for coming on too tonight, man.
Jake, I didn't think I was ever going to witness a debate as devastating as the one that you and Dana moderated back in June, where Joe Biden basically tanked his reelection campaign. I think tonight was just as devastating. I think that Kamala Harris pitched a shutout. on almost every subject I can think of. She shut Trump down on abortion. She shut Trump down on January 6th and democracy. She shut him down on national security and turned to the former president and said, the military leaders who served with you think that you're a disgrace. And then, as Dana mentioned, very powerfully at the end, made the point that she is the candidate of change. We need to turn the page from a decade of division and polarization. On substance, I think she pitched a shout out, and I think she did on style as well. I mean, the image of the debate to me is she's there, happy, smiling, expressive, shaking her head, and dismay at things Trump was saying. And Trump looked angry, scowling. She was looking directly at the audience. He was looking at the moderators and arguing with them. And something else.
And he was,
Donald Trump looked old tonight.
Yeah.
And you know, somebody said on my show on Saturday, she wins just by showing up. I didn't know that was going to be true. I think it was.
Yeah.
She
Well,
was the candidate of change just from the moment the two of them were on the stage.
Everything that she said.
Well, what you
He
saw
could not
really
keep himself
was
under control.
Vice President Kamala Harris prosecuting this debate with surgical precision. She was aware, as she must have been as a prosecutor, that the second you were inside of a courtroom, the jury is looking at everything you're doing. Muted microphones, doesn't matter. Her nonverbal cues, her body language, her incredulous expressions, at one point putting her hand under her chin to demonstrate that she was completely baffled by his line of defense. Losing a battle of expert witnesses you're talking about national security advisors, talking about Nobel laureates, talking about the whole litany of people who do not buy what he's selling. Also very well trained and seasoned and knowing how to grapple with somebody who is going to possibly be bombastic, petulant, defensive, and have a derailed effort. She focused on all of those things. I saw somebody who, when she came out, allow me to reintroduce myself. My name is Kamala Harris. On behalf of Kamala Harris, she came out with that in mind. And I think she executed. Now, Donald Trump tried to derail her a number of times, but notice I'm saying the words Donald Trump in the way she did. It wasn't President Trump. She was referring to him as similar as you would in a courtroom, the defendant, under his title, reminding you of how did she phrase it? What he left us with. It was a really dynamite performance.
So Anderson, I mean, his lack of parrying, his lack of making Kamala Harris and the Biden-Harris record the focus. I mean, if you watched this debate and you didn't know that she was the incumbent vice president, you saw a debate where Donald Trump was really on defense, and he and his record were the subject of the debate, not the incumbent leader.
Kamala Harris did tonight what no governor, senator, politician, business person who has run against him in primaries in 2016, and certainly anything he faced in 2020, has figured out what no one else figured out how to do. Certainly Marco Rubio didn't figure it out by going after little hands. He debased himself, as many have. I want to show just some key moments where she needled Donald Trump on the most sort of obvious, basic things that we all know he has said, we all know are weak points, to devastating effect. Let's just take a look.
Let's talk about what Donald Trump left us. Donald Trump left us the worst unemployment since the Great Depression. Donald Trump left us the worst public health epidemic in a century. Donald Trump left us the worst attack on our democracy since the Civil War. What the Wharton School has said is Donald Trump's plan would actually explode the deficit. I'm going to actually do something really unusual, and I'm going to invite you to attend one of Donald Trump's rallies, because it's a really interesting thing to watch. You will see during the course of his rallies, he talks about fictional characters like Hannibal Lecter. He will talk about windmills cause cancer. And what you will also notice is that people start leaving his rallies early out of exhaustion and boredom. And I will tell you, the one thing you will not hear him talk about is you. If you want to really know the inside track on who the former president is, if he didn't make it clear already, just ask people who have worked with him.
John King, it was the moment she talked about his crowd size of all things, and people, not even was crowd size, it was people being bored and leaving his rallies early. I don't think he ever recovered from that. He started shouting, and he never stopped.
She triggered him there. I think she was uneven.
Milo's famous sweet tea. 100% natural. 3 simple ingredients. Brewed fresh every day. No wonder taste buds love us. Milo's. Delicious is everything.
Could you pick up an agility ladder for my daughter?
I got you.
I think she's going pro at basketball.
Thank you.
Got 2 days
Thank you.
going right
Yeah.
now. So what you think's the next step?
Police say he had a gun in his lap and he tried to grab an officer's weapon. Robinson.
You don't mind, please. He was actually doing that at times. Did that several times. That is
To become a meme yourself there.
This was interesting, I thought, in the way it started.
Okay.
Because it
My
started
bad,
with a
y'all.
throwback back
My
in
bad.
1980,
Now I say, let's go to
Reagan
Fox. Hold
debating
on, let me
Jimmy
pause it
Carter.
real quick.
And Reagan asked.
We finna go to Fox and see they breakdown of it. They a platform that's to the right, so let's see.
The all-time question of all-time questions in debate: are you better off than you were 4 years ago? Which I thought was an interesting setup because there seemed to be this struggle tonight over who the incumbent was.
Yeah.
You know,
It's
Vice
a
President.
challenge in this one.
It is because, Harris quickly had to turn around and start saying, well, you did this, you did that in your time in the White House. Trump, again, had to turn it around and say, well, you want to do all these things. Why didn't you do them when you're vice president? Well, the quick answer to that is the vice presidents are not presidents. However, there did seem to be this struggle all night over who actually was in office and who wants to be returned to office. And it was very interesting at one point when, Harris was talking about the crowd size and going to a crowd of a Donald Trump appearance that really did seem to get under his skin. As we talked about the last night, the Harris campaign has really been trying to find those moments, to kind of annoy and get Trump on his heels a little bit. And it appeared that they did that several times tonight.
Okay, so as we saw this play out, there was just so much talk about what we would expect, how we would see the approach here. A lot of people said that the vice president would take this prosecutorial stance there. And Donald Trump in a debate, as we've learned, this is the third election cycle. You don't know what to expect with him. Was there any surprise in how this played out in your observations?
Well, what I was surprised at times was Trump's ability to, do the weave. And he talks about this a lot, how he
himself has used that term.
He likes to do this thing where he takes his listeners on a journey. And, when you get a question about immigration, somehow we wound up on, other things as we go through it. He was actually doing that at times during the debate. I don't know how much it had to do with the actual question he was asked at times, but that can be confusing for people who are not necessarily Donald Trump supporters. Maybe they aren't too tuned in on this thing that he does. But, I think at the end of the day, all of Donald Trump's supporters probably thought he did great tonight. All of Kamala Harris's supporters probably thought she did great tonight. The question's going to be, what do these swing voters, what do these battleground voters think about what happened tonight? And, Donald Trump did not appear to have his best debate tonight. I think that's a fair statement to say. If I was the Republicans or the Trump campaign, maybe I'd be thinking about that third debate right now, because do you want this one being the last thing that people think of before they walk into the voting?
When you talk about the swing voters, he was hitting the fracking point very hard, which is something that the vice president flipped on from 2020 to now. She brought up the fact that she was the tie-breaking vote with the Inflation Reduction Act, which opened the door for more fracking, more energy production. However, there were some things that they didn't talk about, like why weren't we talking about electric vehicles in Michigan? Things that appeal to states in the Great Lakes, those sort of industrial questions, those weren't part of the conversation tonight.
Yeah, and there was, that was kind of a John Kerry-esque answer on Kamala Harris's part, things, I was against it before I was for it.
Yeah.
So, there was also this question of, do you have an opinion as a politician?
All I can say is it's going to be an interesting year. It's going to be an interesting election. It's been an interesting last few years. The election going to be drama-filled as well, I'm pretty sure. So y'all tell me what y'all think, man. Who y'all think going to win? Who y'all going to vote? Well, y'all ain't got to tell me who y'all going to vote for. It's y'all right. That's y'all choice. It's going to be an interesting year, man. It's going to be very, 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 very interesting. Very interesting. Very interesting. It's going to be crazy. Figure it out, man. We'll figure this stuff out. Nah, it's gonna be real interesting. Very interesting. Very, very interesting. Either way. Might go live tomorrow night. Won't be live Thursday night, but I might go live tomorrow night, depending on how the day go. I think I'm gonna end up chilling today too. Man, what's today? Today the 10th. Yeah. I was gonna get up and try to drop a video tomorrow, but we'll figure out. Well, I'll drop a video tomorrow. Eventually, I'm gonna just see how everything play out. But it's crazy because I had something I needed to fucking do tomorrow, and I can't remember what it was, bro. No, I gotta go by the mall tomorrow, but it was something else I wanted to do tomorrow that I didn't have a chance to do. We'll figure it out though. Bro, when is the hurricane supposed to come? When is the hurricane supposed to come? Shout out to the realest. Shout out to Tori for joining in too, man. When is the hurricane supposed to come, y'all? Ooh. Actual hurricane? Oh, it's a category 1. Let me see. It says Hurricane Francine. Oh, it's finna hit Louisiana. Yeah, it's going to Louisiana, though. Not good. Don't want to see that, but it's not finna hit Houston. Damn. We just getting the win. Is that why we've been? That can't be why we've been having these little cold fronts. The weather been lit out here, bro. It been in the 80s, dog. Have y'all seen that? It been in like the 80s and shit. That shit crazy. Francine, Hurricane Francine. Y'all stay up though, man. Y'all stay blessed. Y'all hit that like button. We got more coming, more videos, all that. 1,000 for shit show, man. We got more coming. Hit the like button. Y'all turn us up. More shit, everything, man. Appreciate y'all supporting. 1,000.